Good morning and welcome, one and all, to the Sunday edition of Pacific414 Pop Talk. As always, I'm your host, Mike. This morning, I have several articles that I want to talk about, and I may not give an opinion on all the articles. I'll leave that up to all of you, but I have plenty of articles here to talk about, and also I have something to talk about for tomorrow. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I will have a special edition of Pacific Forum for Pop Talk, as I will have Master Paul from the Star Wars guys on the channel, along with Mexican Iron Man. And why? Well, that's because in just a few days from now, at the ICC convention in Nashville, Tennessee, it'll be a duel of fates between Mexican Iron Man and Master Paul. Who will win? We'll find out as we get into the pre-match festivities tomorrow night. And it's going to be a fun one, folks. It is definitely going to be a fun one. We will find out from each of the competitors who will win and who has the advantage. You know, some might say that Master Paul, being the young Padawan, has the advantage, but you can't go wrong with the veteran leadership, the veteran experience of one Mexican Iron Man. When it comes to playoff time in sports, who do you rely on the most? The veteran who's been there. The veteran who knows that there is no pressure because he's been there before. He knows how to handle the situation, unlike the upstart rookie who is experiencing the playoffs for the very first time. So I hope you all will enjoy that stream tomorrow and join us for that stream tomorrow. As a matter of fact, before I get on with the first article of this particular episode of the box score, I will go ahead and post the link to tomorrow's stream in the chat for anyone who would like to come by and watch. I would love to see you there, and I know our two competitors would love to see you there. So here we go. There's the link. And let's go ahead and get underway with our first article of this Sunday broadcast. And that's an article from Superhero Hype. And the article is talking about Shout Factory releasing the 1978 Doctor Strange movie on Blu ray. Now, I never knew that there was a Doctor Strange TV movie released back in the late 70s. So this was new on me. And I thought, you know what? This would be a perfect article to talk about for Sunday's edition, as I didn't know about it. I don't know how many people might actually be aware that it actually exists. But hey, why not? Talk about something different, which is what I always try to do here on Pacific Forum for Pop Talk. And I'm going to go ahead and get into this article. This article is by Jake Abbott, and it was actually posted on Wednesday, April 20th. And it says Shop Factory releasing 1978's Doctor Strange TV movie on Blu ray. So if you don't want to see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, pick this one up, depending on when this comes out, of course. So this goes on to say nearly 40 years before Benedict Cumberbatch became the Sorcerer Supreme in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Peter Hooton was the first actor to play Stephen Strange in a TV movie that aired on CBS in 1978. And with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness hitting theaters in 2 weeks, this is the perfect time to revisit the character's earliest live action appearance. Shout Factory has just announced the premiere Blu ray release for Doctor Strange. And before I get too far ahead, because it's something I do here on Pop Talk, I will also post the link to this article. This way, if anyone wishes to follow along, you can. And if you choose to read it at your own leisure, well, that too. So the article continues by saying the film famously made a number of changes to its comic book source material. Instead of a surgeon, Hooton's character worked as a psychiatrist at a mental hospital. When Morgan Le Fay, Jessica Walter, possesses one of his patients, Strange must learn the ways of the mystic arts in order to stop an invasion of Earth. The movie's cast also featured Clyde Kusatsu as one, and future Mr. Freeze voice actor Michael and Sarah. Well, there's an incentive for anyone who enjoys the works of Michael and Sarah, Babylon 5 fans, Star Trek fans, Batman the Animated Series fans, as the disembodied voice of the Ancient One. The article continues by saying writer director Philip DeGear developed the film as a pilot for a TV series to join CBS' burgeoning slate of Marvel programming. At the time, this also included The Amazing Spider-Man starring Nicholas Hammond as the Web Slinger and Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno led Incredible Hulk series. Regardless, the network chose not to move forward with the show. Shout Factory previously released the movie on DVD in 2016 to coincide with the premiere of Marvel's original Doctor Strange film. And there you see the box art for the Blu ray. The upcoming Blu ray features a high definition transfer and restoration of Doctor Strange. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of bonus content, but viewers can listen to audio commentary from pop culture historian Russell Dabal and panel jumper podcast called Harmony. Just trying to make sure I pronounce that correctly because I'm known for mispronouncing names. Doctor Strange arrives on Blu ray next Tuesday, April 26th. You can pre order the film here. Are you excited? Well, considering I never even knew it existed, this might be a fun find, a fun watch. And let's see, Pop Culture Mechanic says, I would definitely give this a watch just to see something different. Yeah, see someone else's take on this particular character and especially how it was done back in the late 70s. This movie's as old as I am, to give you a hint at how old I am, actually. So I'm definitely interested in seeing it. And just in case, because I do try to keep it open lines here on Pop Talk, unless I have something that I need to do after the broadcast. But I'm going to post the invite link in the chat for anyone who would like to go on. And I will go ahead and pin it to the very top. So, you know, I, I'm interested. And as a matter of fact, while I'm still on the page here, let's see if. I'm going to click on this link and I'll go ahead and provide Shout Factory's link. Yeah, 26.98. That's not too bad of a price. I don't know that I would necessarily pay that much, but it depends. I guess because it's one of those rare finds. But there's the link to Shout Factory. I don't know. I definitely check it out if it ever becomes available on a streaming service or any place where I can watch it for free. I'll definitely check it out, just because it has little bit of curiosity in mind, if you know what I mean. The curiosity has been piqued. So let's go ahead and move on to the next article I'm going to talk about this morning. And this one's also from Superhero Hype. And this article was posted on Thursday, the 21st. And the report has it that Netflix has canceled plans to make Bright 2. I never saw the first one that was on Netflix. Heard a lot of people talking about it. I just chose not to watch it. And this article is once again by Jake Abbott. And the article starts off by saying several upcoming Will Smith projects have reportedly been shelved after the King Richard stars slapped Chris Rock on stage during last month's Academy Awards telecast. Now it looks like we can add Bright 2 to that list. Bloomberg reporter Lucas Shaw says that Netflix has canceled plans for a sequel to David Ayer's 2017 fantasy flick. Shaw tweeted that Bright 2 news to accompany an earlier Bloomberg story about National Geographic delaying production on its upcoming Pull to Pull docuseries, which also features Smith. The show will now begin shooting in the fall. However, Shaw was quick to add that Bright 2's cancellation is unrelated to what happened at the Oscars. Interesting. And good morning, Godzillionaire. And Godzillionaire says Bright was weird. It looked weird. And as much as I'm into sci-fi, fantasy, and all that, even I have my limits where I'm gonna just go, no, 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 not at all. Not watching this. Pop Culture Mechanic says, never even knew there was a Bright one. Yes, there was. And Godzillionaire says, I'm sure this cancellation has nothing to do with Netflix stock taking a nosedive last week. Oh, no, no, no. The two are unrelated. If you believe that, there's a bridge in Brooklyn. I'm sure someone's going to try to sell you. All right. So the article continues to say the original Bright starred Smith as Gerald Ward, an LAPD detective in a world where magic is real and humans coexist with various mystical creatures. One of these creatures, Nick Jacoby, Joel Egerton, becomes the country's first orc police officer and partners with Daryl to protect an elf girl and the magic wand in her possession. Okay, interesting. Well, like I said, even I have my limits. As much as I like sci-fi and fantasy, I do have my limits. It goes on to say Louis Leterrier, the Incredible Hulk, entered negotiations to replace Ayer as the director of Bride 2 in 2020. Ayer was going to stay on as producer and work on the script with Evan, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his last name, and T.S. Nowlin. Regardless, news of the sequel's fate isn't bound to make waves. The first film received overwhelming negative reviews when it premiered on Netflix more than 3 years ago. The movie's screenwriter, Max Landis, was also accused of sexual and emotional abuse by 8 different women. Despite this, Netflix still released an anime spin-off, Bright Samurai Soul, last October. And let me go ahead and post this article into the chat before we get. All right. So the article finishes off by saying Smith resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences after the incident took place. The Academy later banned him from attending the ceremony for 10 years, but he has faced additional consequences since then. Earlier this month, Netflix put another Smith film, Fast and Loose, on the back burner. A fourth entry in the Bad Boys franchise is reportedly on hold as well. Are you sad to hear that Bride 2 is no longer happening? Well, since I've never saw the first one, it's not going to bother me one way or another. It's just not. I I can't speak for all of you, but however, since I never saw the first film, I can't be too upset about this. I just can't. And, speaking of Netflix, you know how they lost 20% of their subscriber base, and there are a lot of factors you can say that have taken place as to why they've lost that subscriber base. Cuties comes to mind. Cuties is one of the big factors. And also, the programming isn't appealing to the vast majority of audiences. It's just not. One example, as a fan of Masters of the Universe and He Man, I'm sorry, that series sucked. The 5 episodes that I watched of part 1 absolutely sucked. I didn't even bother with part 2. I wasn't going to bother with part 2. It's just like reviewing Star Trek Picard season 1. I went through the first 10 episodes of Star Trek Picard once. I wasn't going to do it again. So, this next article I have here is from Bounding into Comics, and I already know that you all can see the headline. And it goes on to say Elon Musk eviscerates Netflix after they lose 200,000 subscribers. Predict even greater losses and see their stock price tank. You know, there's another streaming service that was also canceled, and we're going to be talking about that in this edition of Pop Talk as well. But I will go ahead and read this article first before we get to that next article. And before I begin with this article, I do want to say good morning to DJ Ronnie G. How are you doing this morning? If you'd like to join, the StreamYard's invite link is pinned to the top of the chat. So this article is by John F. Trent. It was posted on Bounding into Comics on April 21st, 2022. Says Elon Musk, who is currently attempting to purchase Twitter, recently eviscerated Netflix after the company revealed in their first quarter financial report for 2022 that they shed over 200,000 subscribers, which in turn led to the company's stock plummet. It goes on to say on April 19th, Netflix revealed that in the first quarter, the company's global streaming paid members clocked in at 221.64 million. That was 200,000 less than in the fourth quarter of 2021, where they posted 221.84 million. Despite the loss in paid memberships, the company did increase their revenues to 7.868 billion from 7.709 billion. However, they also noted they expected to lose 2 million paid subscribers in the second quarter. Investors were not happy about the decline in paid memberships. and the expectation of even greater losses. The Wall Street Journal noted Netflix stock price dropped $122.42 to $226.19 on Wednesday, 35.1% decline, its largest since 2004. And before I continue, please welcome to the panel Cash Money. Good morning, Cash.
I'm here. What's up? Not too much. Just I'm awake for some reason, so yeah, here I am.
Well, I appreciate it, brother.
All right,
I don't want anybody to ever feel like they have to jump on the
I
panel. I
know
just
that.
put it out there as an option.
I know.
But yeah, that drop of 35.1% was its largest since 2004. In fact, one fund, Pershing Square, managed by billionaire investor William Ackman, and announced they sold their stake in Netflix at a loss. A letter to shareholders began, "Today we sold our investment in Netflix, which we purchased earlier this year. The loss of our investment reduced the Pershing Square Fund's year to date returns by 4 percentage points. The Wall Street Journal believes this means they lost 400 million. That's a good chunk of change. As for why they sold, the letter explains, excuse me, we have lost confidence in our ability to predict the company's future prospects with sufficient degree of certainty. It further added, we believe this dispersion of outcomes has widened to a sufficiently large extent that in challenging for the company that it is challenging for the company to meet our requirements for our core holding. In reaction to news coverage of Netflix stock prices cratering due to its increase in decrease in subscribers and its prediction for even more losses by Slashdot, Musk wrote, "The woke mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable." Well, it's making a lot of shows unwatchable. It goes on to say Musk wouldn't stop there. He would also respond to a tweet from Niche Gamer that read, "Not just Netflix, movies in general. Video games, TV, it's all infested with current year trend woke garbage for fear of offending a green haired freak next to the ban button. Nothing original anymore at all, except for media coming out of places like Japan or Korea, ironically." And then you can see Musk replied, and there's tweet right there. The article continues. In a follow up tweet, he asserted, "Can they please just make sci fi fantasy at least mostly about sci fi fantasy?" True. The woke mind virus has indeed made much of the shows and movies that Netflix produces unwatchable. One of the most recent examples is Vikings Valhalla. Yeah, I've heard nothing but bad things about that series. The show features a race and gender swapped historical ruler, Jarl Hulkin, and I'm probably saying that wrong, played by Caroline Henderson. Not only does the show race and gender swap Hulkin, but Henderson's character rules over, and I'm gonna try this once. Katgat, and I know I probably mispronounced it, which is shown as a welcoming place for various peoples of all kinds of different backgrounds, despite the actual history of the region. History? What's that? They're not going to pay attention to history. They're not going to pay any attention to any historical accuracies that there were. They're just going to put historical inaccuracies in there. All right, the article goes on to say the show premiered on Netflix on February 25th, and the company's self reported the first season was the second most watched English language show on the platform with 80.5 million hours viewed. Gotta wait for this ad to go away. Thank you very much. In the second week, it would become the most watched show with 113.3 million hours viewed. By week 3, the show fell to the fourth most viewed show with only 41.7 million hours watched. And in its fifth week, it was the eighth with 19.8 million hours viewed. In week 6, it was no longer in Netflix top 10 shows. That's because people don't like it. Yeah, you first hear about the hype, people start watching, and then when they actually see what it is, they turn it off. And good morning to the Smoking Patriot. Brother, if you can make it, I did send you the link. All right. So the article continues by saying on Nielsen's top 20 weekly streaming chart for the week ending February 27th, the show clocked in at ninth with 796 million minutes watched. That's only 13.2 million hours. It just, it's going down in a blaze of glory. For the week ending March 6th, the show did jump into second place with 1.79 billion minutes watched or 17.9 million hours watched. In its third week on Nielsen's chart, the show fell to 412 million minutes watched or 6.8 million hours watched. It was good for 17th on the chart. It fell off the chart in week 4. And it just keeps going down, down, down. Mayday, mayday, mayday. We're going down. We're going down. You know what? You know what it sounds like? What's happening for the show? Well, it kind of sounds like this.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
All right. So the article says maybe an even better example and also gets to Musk's comments about sci-fi and fantasy is Netflix adaptation of the popular anime Cowboy Bebop. Watch the anime, skip the live action series. The
Yes,
anime is so much
please.
better.
Yes, do that. Don't watch any of the Netflix series ever. Don't let anyone tell you it's worth it. But I want to keep listening to Mike's reading, so I'll have my thoughts after the article's finished.
That's okay, Cash. If you want to chime in, brother.
No, I'll let you finish.
All right.
All right.
Not only did the show's script coordinator reveal part of the show was inspired by a radical left wing YouTuber, but the series' lead actress attacked and derided fans for wanting a faithful live action adaptation. The show inserted sexual identity into the series by making Faye Valentine bisexual. I'll wait for this ad to go away.
Yeah.
Yep, and we all saw that video, and she helped sync the series. She really did. She helped sync it.
uh,
And it goes on to say costumes were specifically designed to cater to current woke talking points, and the dialogue was riddled with cringe-inducing wokeness. Goes on to say the show was so bad and poorly viewed that Netflix announced it would not get a second with in a week of it premiering on the streaming platform. While it's unclear how many people are unsubscribing from Netflix due to the streamer's clear mandates to include wokeness into their shows, it's clear people are unsubscribing and Netflix is expecting a whole lot more. And my question to all of you and to you, Cash.
yeah.
And it says here, right in the article, I'm just going to read it verbatim. What do you make of Musk's take on Netflix being unwatchable due to
It's
the whole woke mind virus?
it's a dumpster fire to an extent. The things my friend, she canceled her account with her family and any friends because now they're raising prices, because how dare these people let somebody share their account outside of the household or their family, and so they want to charge people extra. Sure, they can do all this stuff they want, but all they do is just hurt their product. But they don't care. If they cared, they wouldn't do this stuff. So yes, but Elon Musk is on a troll rampage, and that I have no problem with it at all. The only thing that is worth watching on Netflix usually is old shows. The last time I was using Netflix, I was watching old anime. And Arcane. Arcane was definitely worth watching. D- Definitely. But there's not much else to really watch on there. Yeah, my brother and I watched Power of the Dog, or as I like to call it, Power of the Boar. He liked it a lot. Yes, the acting is strong, but it's that movie just bored me to. It was pretty boring to me. I that's not a western I really enjoyed and something I would watch again. But Netflix just doesn't. The old content is what I find interesting on Netflix. The new content, well, I didn't get to watch Squid Game, so maybe I'll have to catch up on that. But it's a mess. A lot of streaming services are a mess in general.
Mhm.
People can like these shows, but it has to have quality content. And there's a section for wokeness, there's a section for this. They can do whatever they want. It's their platform. But I feel it also, it stinks that Disney was able to get those Netflix shows of Marvel, because that was some of the best content on Netflix when it was on. But
Mhm.
it's just a mess. So it just keeps going in a vicious cycle over and over and over again.
The only reason I'm even considering reactivating my Netflix account is because I did say to Brian, the Nerdporeal Lifeform, that if he would like me to join his panel for season 4 of Stranger Things,
Oh
I would
yeah.
join, but I have to watch the series first. So I told him I can be a quick learner.
Well, I mean, I guess I would like to, if I can get access to Netflix again or whatever. I mean, I guess I would watch more of I, The Witcher, I guess. But even The Witcher, there's like race swapping. They changed the character of Dandelion, who's different than the games. It's annoying. It just is. From what I've seen so far of the first season, it's weird. Yes, I'm sure they are. Yeah, Netflix, all these streaming services, Apple TV is doing very well too, and they're getting nominations for Oscars and different. They have a lot of they have a lot of content on there too. But it's just too many streaming services, and then you have Hulu, then you have this. Some of this stuff used to be free, and it's just on and on and on and on and on. And it's just after a while, it just gets annoying. I mean, even like HBO Max, there's stuff to watch on there, but you find yourself watching old stuff, old DC animated shows, and probably a few movies. But when it comes to like Netflix, it's easy to make fun of them. I mean, even like Squid Game. Squid Game was something interesting to a lot of people, and then the critics come out and say, "Oh, the women weren't treated properly." It's just stupid. It really is.
Well,
And
speaking of
Netflix Bebop. Oh gosh, Netflix Bebop.
speaking of watching old shows and you know being able to enjoy old shows, have you ever watched any of the shows that are available on Tubi?
No, I haven't. I've thought about it, but I
Yeah,
haven't yet.
Tubi's
No.
a free service. Yeah, you have to put up with ads, but
Yeah.
it's no different than if you were watching
Right.
regular
YouTube.
TV.
Right. Hmm. Yeah.
You can find a lot of old shows and movies, and some of the movies they have on there aren't that old.
Yeah. I mean, they have the Voltron series, and they did like 8 seasons in 2 years. It's ridiculous. And so
Hmm.
they changed things about that too. And then if they're going to be doing a live action version of Voltron, what are they going to change again? Is Keith not going to be able to be in love with the princess? Oh no! Like it's that's terrible. Or Lance
Well,
is now supposed to be in love with the princess. Ridiculous.
well,
Yeah, I didn't
Cash,
watch that. Yeah,
you mentioned Voltron. Well, I do have an article related to Voltron.
I know they're doing a live action version. I don't know about
Yep.
this. I'm kind of worried. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it a few weeks ago here on Pacific 4 and 4 Pop Talk. Well, this latest news coming from Superhero Hype says that Amazon Prime may land the live action Voltron movie.
Yep. Yep. It's probably going to be there's going to be a lot of race swapping probably, and who knows? I wouldn't put it past them. Oh, it's going to be an Amazon Prime. Yeah. Still, it could happen. Keith will be black and or something, some ridiculous thing. The princess will be in love with a woman. I don't know. I can just
The princess will be the leader of the Voltron force.
yes, for sure. Not Keith. The princess will be able to control the line, not Keith. Can't have that. That's
Keith will be killed within the first 5 minutes of the movie, and the princess will take charge.
That's right.
I'm only half joking here, folks.
I know. Yep. It's not good.
So this article is from Jake Abbott, and it starts off by saying the battle for Voltron's big screen future might be nearing its end. Last month, director Rawson Marshall Thurber began pitching a live-action take on the beloved anime series to several major studios in Hollywood. This ultimately led to a massive bidding war over the project's distribution rights. Now, Deadline brings word that Amazon Studios is the likely victor. Nothing is set in stone yet, but talks are currently underway to bring the giant robot to Prime Video. Thurber, Red Notice, intends to direct the movie from a screenplay he co-wrote with Ellen Shandman, Todd Lieberman, and David Haberman. Are also on board to produce the film alongside Bob Koppler of World Events Productions. This is the latest in a long line of attempts to bring Voltron to life in live action. Hollywood has been trying to produce an adaptation since at least 2005. Regardless, a film has yet to materialize. Article finishes off by saying if a deal is actually reached, Amazon will have beaten Warner Brothers and Universal, both of whom were also vying to distribute the film. Thurber reportedly received offers from at least 6 different studios, but Netflix, which previously aired Voltron Legendary Defender from 2016 to 2018, was never in the running. This isn't necessarily a surprise because Netflix is already developing another mecha anime adaptation, Gundam, with director Jordan Vogt Roberts directing. Do you think Amazon is a good home for Voltron? No, I don't. I do not.
I mean, there are some quality shows on Amazon that aren't woke or anything, but I don't know. After what's happened to Voltron already, I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first 2 seasons of the Netflix series. I
Keith
thought
will
it was
probably
okay.
start crying and stuff. He didn't get the lion working probably, and the princess will be like slap him around. Don't do that. And Keith will be like, "I'm sorry, princess." I don't know, man. It's embarrassing.
You know, the princess will have to show the Voltron Force, Voltron team how to use each of their lines and all the capabilities.
Yeah, her outfit probably from the original show will be. They probably won't use it, and it'll probably be offensive now or something. I wish I was joking, but this is what happens. The show is already written, so what do you do in the live action? You just follow a lot of the show. It doesn't seem to. That's it, but they don't want to do that. That's what happened with Cowboy Bebop. That's what happened. That's why when you've seen these fan projects, and I should probably look up some and see if there's some fan projects of Voltron. I bet some of them are pretty amazing. It's just sad. It's
And,
something
you
like
know,
Power Rangers. Whenever that comes out again, still makes a lot of money because it's still Power Rangers. It still makes people happy. It still
Yep.
feels like it hasn't changed. I can't remember the last Power Rangers movie. I think it was a few years ago.
yeah, I think it was 2017 that movie came out.
And I think that movie did make money. Pretty sure it did.
I know some of the criticisms of the movie, and it's something that Patriot has actually brought up, is the fact that you didn't have that sequence where the Rangers team actually said it's morphine time.
Yeah.
He says that was one of the flaws in the movies. Hey, Crit, how you doing?
And Crit Crit is always happy to show anybody Netflix Bebop. As long as he has Netflix, he's always happy. He's like, oh, you want to watch Netflix Bebop? And if he doesn't have Netflix, he'll find clips on YouTube just to harass people with that show.
God.
Yes. and those clips are funny, especially Spike Spiegel. But it's just
So Crit,
bad.
answer this question. Is that part of your master plan to show people bad movies and TV shows and make them just weak and go into a corner, shrivel up and cry?
Sorry, I had to jump in quick on this because
All right, brother.
yeah. So yes, what you were all saying about the Power Rangers and everything. Yeah, the 2016 movie was a disaster because it hardly made money, shot down any hopes of a sequel. Because at the end, there's a teaser where they tease Tommy, the Green Ranger.
Oh.
There was. It was after all the credits.
Mm-hmm.
That was done away with because the movie got terrible reaction and made very little profit for them to even be incentivized because they tried to do two things. They tried to make it grounded and realistic, and they tried to make and they deviated from a lot of that fun, childlike ish that you get with the Power Rangers usually. It was super realistic. Like Trini was secretly like bisexual. Yeah. They didn't say that in the movie, but there's a few hints that people got that were commented on internet forums that are like,
sure,
is she kind of bisexual? Like, they don't say it outright, but they kind of give hints that she might be. Mm-hmm. Kimberly with like revenge. I don't know if it was revenge porn or revenge stuff. Billy being autistic.
What?
Yeah, Billy was autistic in the 2016 movie. So they try to make it too grounded, and they didn't have any of the fun the fun elements of Power Rangers. So when you don't have that, so it's one thing to make it a little more grounded, but you still have to have the funness of Power Rangers. That's the whole point of it. And you didn't have any of that. Where the realistic more adult side has come out is in a lot of these fan projects, like Power Rangers Bloodline of the Grid, Power Rangers Shattered Past, Power Rangers Unworthy. These are YouTube fan series where they're bringing in previous actors and actresses who have done Power Rangers. They're literally bringing them in to film this stuff with them. And these guys aren't professional actors. They just have a love of the franchise, and they expand on the franchise. And it's beautiful work. And yeah, it's fan. You could say it looks corny, but these guys are operating on a pea-sized budget, and they're making incredibly fun work. That's the problem I see with Voltron. They're going to make it too grounded. They're not going to. When you watch Voltron, you expect fun, right?
It's fun. It gets dark too, but yeah, it's fun.
It does get dark, but I'm saying, but there's always a humor. There's always a light side. There's always a satirical side.
Yes, you want to see Voltron succeed, definitely. You like Keith, you like Hunk, you like Hunk, yeah. You like
Pitch.
Pidge, yep. You like these characters. You like the princess. Yeah.
Yeah, so Voltron, that's the problem they're going to do. They're going to try and make it too grounded, and they're going to try and make it too serious. They're going to pull a Power Rangers 2016 again. Because that's what these people can't seem to get through their damn heads.
Mm-hmm.
Certain franchises have to be grounded in reality to a degree. Others,
Mm-hmm.
science fiction, fantasy. That's what Voltron is. It's a mix of
Mhm.
science fiction and fantasy.
Yes.
That's what, if you're gonna do a movie, that's what it has to literally be oozing and dripping: science fiction mixed with fantasy.
Yeah, and there can't be. It's very clear who the good guys are and who the bad guys are in Voltron. So if they do this whole thing where the villains are misunderstood, it's going to be another problem.
And let me pose this question to you guys. Does Voltron actually need a live action movie adaptation, or should it stick to its roots?
It doesn't need any of it, but if you're going to do it, they should do it right, but they just don't. And if they're going to do it, they can be like, "Oh, it's non-canon." But even if that is the case, they'll probably just mess up so many things, and it just won't even feel much like Voltron.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said, Voltron kind of falls within the mecha anime genre to a degree.
Yep.
And I've said this: the best mecha anime movie that we have gotten, like my bar, is Pacific Rim, because when you
Good
saw
film. Yep.
when you saw that on theaters for the first time, Gypsy Danger, and you see it powering up and going into the water, and the sheer size, when you see the water just like moving out of the way essentially, and you felt every hit. That's what mecha anime in a visually live action format should look like. That's my baseline.
Mm-hmm.
Voltron, that's going to be a very hard bar, because you have to have the 5 separate lions.
Yes.
And you have to then basically Power Rangers Megazord them together into Voltron, and I don't think you can do that properly in a live action format. I do not think you can, to where it'll have that epicness that you would get in anime.
No, they could do it, but they also probably would race swap, because for some reason it's probably wrong that there's 5 pilots who are, spoiler alert, are white. There's something wrong with that. So, which there shouldn't be, because they are white. But anyways,
they are. And the funny thing is, I don't care that they're white. I don't look at, and this is something
right.
people don't seem to understand, is that
Mm-hmm.
when you're looking at these various franchises, I don't care if you're black, white, lizard person, pink, yellow, gray. I don't care what your skin color is. Right. I care about the character that we're being given.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I care about. If you give me a great character, like what they did with in the Voltron Netflix series with Pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact she cut her hair to look like a boy because she was a girl, but that was the only way she could get in. Mm-hmm. I didn't care that they didn't gender swap her to a degree, although they kind of did in a way, but I didn't mind that, because they sold me on Pitch the character. They gave me a good character.
Right.
I didn't care that she cut her hair to make herself look like a boy. Mm-hmm. I didn't care, because you developed Pitch the character. You grew the character to where I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm on Team Pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, Team Pitch. Yes.
But that's what they have to do. They have to create a character that we can all support.
Mm-hmm. But Pidge, of course, in the original series and some of the other series later on, was still a teenager, as far as I remember. So they decided in this, because I don't know if I got that far in the Netflix Voltron series. So in the newest series, which they did like 8 seasons in 2 years, they decided that Pidge was a girl.
Yeah, so Pitch was a girl, And so her brother and her father were part of this, along with the leader of the team. What is it, Keith? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, Keith. They were on this the first to go outside the solar system mission, and she kept breaking into I guess it was kind of like the military or the Space Corps, basically breaking in and hacking in because she was like a tech genius to try and find out what happened. But because they knew her as a girl, she cut her hair and wore glasses to make it look like she was a boy, so she could infiltrate it and find out what really happened to her brother and dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the voice, you could say, okay, that could be a girl, that could be a boy. You could go either way, but again, I didn't mind it as much because it had been a long time since I had seen Voltron, the older anime one. So I didn't mind that they did that to pitch because, again, it was about the character development to me.
Right.
Certain characters, I'd say, yes, they have to be this way. But I'm not a hard ass and not that much of a stickler if you could develop a character well enough to where I'm willing to put certain things aside.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that, brother.
All right, I got to get going. My cough's starting to really come back.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All
Sorry,
right, man.
Yeah, sorry I can't be on longer. This I'm still fighting whatever it is I'm fighting. So
It's all good.
but I will. I'll have you all in the background for sure. So
All right, brother.
all right, talk to you.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Feel better.
All right, and I agree with Patriot. I agree with him wholeheartedly.
Yes, me too.
Now we've got an article that you actually shared with me, Cash.
It's so funny.
And I told you, be careful. I might just use it.
It's so funny. I read this. I laughed so hard.
I read it this morning, and I couldn't help but start laughing. This comes from Niche Gamer, and it says, we've learned socialite Kim Kardashian threatened to sue Roblox apparently over a game that claimed to offer an unreleased sex tape. Oh, you were the one that did it, Kim. Everybody knows it. It's out there.
She did.
It's
Big reason that her career was launched.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, it's funny
And
as heck.
good morning to Christian Fandom Geek. How are you doing this morning?
Yep. And morning to DJ Ronnie.
First reported by E! Online, Kim Kardashian threatened to sue Roblox when her 6-year-old son, Saint West, saw a game made in Roblox which claimed to have her unreleased sex tape. For those unaware, Roblox is a DIY sandbox game platform where you can make your own games, and you can also naturally play games made and hosted by other players. In the very real episode of The Kardashians on television, when shown the game advertising her supposed sex tape, Kim said, "I have all the time and all the money and all the resources to burn them all to the effing ground."
Oh.
Oh no. Ooh, ooh. All right, I'm going to go on record and say I have never cared for the Kardashians. I take a Kardashian over the Kardashians.
Uh-huh. Very good.
The article continues to say the folks at Roblox were quick to ban the game and its creator, while noting despite the ban, it actually had no sex tape in its world. Well, of course not. It's just a way to get people to jump on and play. The reference video was never available on our platform. A Roblox representative said, "We have strict moderation and policies to protect our community, including zero tolerance for sexual content of any kind, which violates our community rules. They added the text reference to the tape that got around our filters was quickly taken down and fortunately visible only to an extremely small number of people on the platform. We also swiftly took down the associated experience and banned the community developer involved with the incident. Despite the news that Kim Kardashian threatened to sue Roblox in a potential lawsuit, the game was actually sued last year over unauthorized song use,
Oh, that could
led
happen.
the Roblox studio to naturally banning the game and its creator. Conversely, Roblox also sued one of its users, Ruben Sim, with 1.6 million suit for terrorist threats and inciting cyber mob within the game. The game has also banned using an ID verification system to help shield younger players from potential harassment. Well, considering I've never had any reason to play Roblox, and even if there was the sex tape on there, I'd still have no reason because I'm gonna say it right here, right now, unfiltered. I could give two shits about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
And DJ Ronnie D says, keeping with the Kardashians.
Yep.
Yes. And hello to Whoopa Troopa. How you doing, brother?
Well,
Let's see. Got a response from Crit to Godzillionaire. Godzillionaire. I've just heard cringe things about LD stuff, about pandering, representation, etc., etc. It makes me not want to even touch the show. I can understand that wholeheartedly.
the animation's really good, though. It really is. But it is bizarre seeing that Lance is in love with the princess and not Keith because Keith is in love with some dude for some reason. I'm like, sure. Wait, what? But that is in the show, so
Okay. And Crit also
it's really good.
says, and I heard some fan hijacking a Q&A just to talk about representation. I don't know, considering how poor Shira has been treated, it doesn't help how you even want to touch Netflix animation.
Yeah, and Ashley Eckstein was actually in that She-Ra show. I hope they paid her a lot.
They should have.
Yes, according and as we know, as I'm sure you know, um, Mike, that people have been attacked with death threats if you rip on that show. The art, they call them the
Clownfish TV.
Sheeries. Yeah, the Sheeries. Yes, yes. Clownfish, Anna the Anna the Star Wars girl. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's where I heard a lot about that show, and I was like, wow. I was like that. That is some crazy stuff, but it's not that surprising. I hate to break it to those people, but the original animation is so much better. It's just a lot better. It's the Shira looks more feminine. I know I hate to break it to people, but she does. She looks like legitimately a strong female. But yes, if you go on there and it looks like anybody, go on Twitter, criticize the art of the Shira, Princess of Power, which however you feel about it, it just looks lazy to me compared to the
I
original
did
art.
criticize it when I followed Nerdist on Facebook. When I first
Did you?
saw
Yeah.
the renderings, I'm all, this is crap art.
Did you get
This isn't
censored?
good art. Oh yeah, I had people
Uh,
coming after me saying,
of
"Oh, this
course.
is great art." It's like, no, it's not.
It looks
There's
lazy
no
to me.
detail in it. It's bland. It's
It just
boring.
doesn't. and it looks like She-Ra is wearing a wig. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's just I'm not very impressed by it.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next article. Surprise, Nerdporial is in here, but I better be careful now that I mentioned his name. He may just show up.
And he's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, it's Mike," and we're gonna be like, "Yeah, it is."
Yes, yes, it is. I'm here. I'm here. So this article I'm about to read, or stutter through, depending on how you want to take it, is from Fear HQ, and it says Halloween ends. Michael Myers actor Nick Castle promises a shocking conclusion to the trilogy. I'll put the article
Ooh.
into the chat, and I'll go ahead and read what the Padawannabe has to say. The only thing they do that catches my attention is to show me how out of touch the entire family is. I watched an interview with Kim on David Letterman. She has no clue of society. Of course she doesn't.
No, no.
All right. So this article says David Gordon Green's Halloween Ends wrapped production back in February, and original Michael Myers actor Nick Castle has now promised fans a conclusion to the trilogy nobody will see coming. Even the movie's staunchest defenders would have to admit that Halloween Kills proved to be a divisive entry in David Gordon Green's series of sequels to John Carpenter's classic. But Michael Myers fans are hoping the upcoming Halloween Ends will bring the trilogy and most likely the franchise to a close in a satisfying manner. Green has already stated that Ends won't play out the way people are expecting, and the original actor to wear the iconic mask of the shape has now hinted at a shocking conclusion nobody would have ever guessed. While speaking on a panel at Pittsburgh Steel City Con, Nick Castle, who shares the role of Myers with James Jude Courtney in the new trilogy, said he believes there could well be more movies after Halloween ends, but feels the upcoming horror flick will still deliver an ending for everybody. And the quote from him says, I think there might be more because of all the success of this trilogy, but Green will have a very surprising storyline and ending for everybody. It's absolutely something I don't think you would have ever guessed in terms of the way it's going to unroll. After the events of Kills, the prevailing theory is that Laurie will finally manage to take Myers down for good at the expense of her own life, but Castle's comments would seem to suggest that things won't play out quite so predictably. And how do you think Halloween ends? Well, wrap up the trilogy? I don't know. I think it's, the Halloween movies should have ended a long time ago, in my own opinion.
Yeah, people really liked Halloween Kills, and when the mobs go after it on Twitter, it's doing something right. So. I've watched some of it, but I haven't seen all of it.
I haven't watched any of it. Not that I against any horror films. I'm not. I've watched Scream. I've watched the original Nightmare on
Yeah,
Elm
that
Street
counts.
several times,
Sure.
and Nightmare on Elm Street was just one of those movies. My parents didn't care that it was rated R. They would let my sister and I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Friday the 13th,
Mm-hmm.
and even the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there are people who are going to be interested in knowing how this particular portion of the Halloween franchise ends, and All I'm going to say is what I said before. It's a franchise that needs to end, needs to take a long break,
Yes.
in my own opinion.
Yes, it does.
All right.
It probably
So,
does. Yeah. Mhm.
so I am going to shift gears, and, this is still entertainment related, even though
Right.
it does have a little bit of politics in it,
Oh no.
but it is being widely discussed. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill repealing Disney's special district for Walt Disney World. Of course, this was posted on Friday, and this is coming. Let me get rid of this from Deadline, and it's written by Ted Johnson. And our last update for this article was at 12:33 p.m. Pacific time, and it goes on to say this. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation Friday that strips Disney of a special district that covers Walt Disney World after the company came out publicly against the state's parental rights law. It's unclear what the ultimate financial impact will be on Disney, but Democrats have warned that dissolving the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which I will go ahead and include the link to that so you can all read what's that all entails. There we go. Could leave Florida's Orange and Osceola counties to pay for the district's existing debts. DeSantis standing at a lectern with the message "Freedom from Indoctrination" accused Disney of pushing an LGBTQ agenda. DeSantis claimed the company had an intentional agenda to inject sexuality into the programming that is provided to our youngest kids. Article continues to say he was clear that was the reason that he was repealing the special district. I'm just not comfortable having that type of agenda get special treatment in my state. He said, I just can't do it. He also downplayed the impact of the repeal on taxpayers. We have everything thought out. Don't let anyone tell you that Disney is going to get a tax cut out of this. They are going to pay more taxes as a result of this. Opponents have dubbed the law the Don't Say Gay bill. As it went through the state legislature, Disney remained publicly silent. In March, though, CEO Bob Chapek then reversed course and announced the company's opposition at its annual meeting while putting a pause on political donations in the state. Disney did not comment. The Human Rights Campaign's intern president, Joni Madison, issued a statement in which she said Governor DeSantis is wielding the power of the state to punish businesses simply for not falling in line with his brutal and discriminatory attacks. It's simply another example of Governor DeSantis' attempts to tell people what to say, how to teach, what they can learn, what they can believe, and who they can be, and shows that Governor DeSantis is prioritizing attacking LGBTQ plus people over the well-being of the state.
Mm-hmm. Sure it is.
And the article says previously Thursday in the AM, Disney is poised to lose the 55-year-old special district that covers Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Lawmakers Thursday moved to punish the company for its opposition to the state's new parental rights law, which detractors have dubbed the Don't Say Gay law.
Ugh.
Goes on to say the Florida House voted 70-38 on a bill to
Mhm.
dissolve the district as well as others established before 1968. And the whole reason why they have these tax breaks was to lure Disney to Florida.
It's
It, it
interesting.
was it was before Walt Disney even passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And when you search through it online, you can find that Disney had dummy companies in order to buy the swampland that they wanted to buy to build Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate passed the measure on Wednesday. Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican who is eyeing a 2024 presidential bid, supports the repeal effort and asked lawmakers to consider it during their special session this week. He has accused the company, one of the state's largest employers, of going woke, but LGBTQ plus activists see parental rights bill as yet another chapter in efforts to tarnish gay, lesbian, and transgender people as threats to children. Disney has yet to comment on the move. Disney's property has been covered by Reedy Creek Improvement District since 1967, given its self-governance over land use and environmental issues and allowing it to float tax-free municipal bonds. Democrats said the repeal of the district could leave Osceola and Orange counties on the hook for nearly $1 billion in bond debt. Supporters of the repeal effort said that the time had come for the legislature to gain oversight over the district. Under the terms of the legislation, districts would be dissolved as of June 1st, 2023, but they could seek to be reactivated after that. But the move has been seen as an effort to punish Disney for speaking out on the law. Lloyd Blankfein, senior chairman of Goldman Sachs, wrote Thursday on Twitter, in 1967, Florida granted special governance and tax status to Disney World. Maybe that was bad policy, but to revoke it because Governor Ron DeSantis objects to Disney's position on related legislature smacks of government retaliation for exercising free speech. Bad look for a conservative. But the effort against Disney has evaluated the profile of DeSantis, and he has made the company a target. Disney and other world corporations won't get away with peddling their unchecked pressure campaigns any longer, he wrote in a fundraising pitch this week, according to the Associated Press. Walt Disney had identified the Florida property with an eye toward building a futuristic city, but those plans were abandoned after his death in 1966. A concern of the company in the 1960s had been that it had autonomy, particularly on issues like land use. Unlike in Anaheim, where a hodgepodge of motels and tourist shops sprouted up in the area around Disneyland after it opened in 1955. Walt Disney World opened in 1971. And for anyone who's keeping score, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. And I want to hear your thoughts, Cash.
Well, I mean, some people in the community recently have had streams on this and their thoughts. My thoughts is that people don't read the bill. What else is new? People just assume everything. It's those evil, it's one side against the other. We're the holy children of the righteousness of of the magical tower, and you people who have any problem with this, you're the evil demon children who should be burned at the stake. It's always the same nonsense, boogaloo nonsense. It's just like we all run around hitting each other with Acme mallets. But in this case, there's some people who would rather hit you with the Acme mallets because you're the bad guys. But they never read the bill. And as a lot of these politicians have said, including Nancy Pelosi and some of these other people, they said, "Oh, we'll sign it. We'll sign it first, and then we'll read the bill." Like what? And they've actually said this. So I mean, none of this surprises me. But this whole thing about the teachers' unions, about the teachers that they think they have the power to talk to kids about this is ridiculous. And when they get older, sure. But you know what? Let the parents handle these issues. The teachers don't. These teachers who feel that they deserve to talk to this stuff, and if they don't, these kids are confused, and then they go to their teachers, and yet other people. There's some people in the hangar bay who are on the side of these useless politicians, and I say useless because a lot of them are. They don't read the bill. They're not out to help the country, but I don't want to go too far into that. I think this stuff is just embarrassing, and these corporations deserve to be punished. They don't learn, Pacific, and I'm very strong about this. And people who want to disagree with me, fine. But once again, I will tell people, and and it might hurt some people's feelings, but facts do not care about your feelings. And yes, there are people like Ben Shapiro and other people who have said this, but the reality is that they don't. So read the bill and understand it. But it's easy to go and say, "Oh, they're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. Go after them. They're the evil people." And guess what? What happened with Disney recently? 4 executives were busted for some bad stuff.
Yeah, and
So once again,
4
they're
employees
hypocrites.
several weeks ago were also arrested for
Yes.
child pornography.
Disgusting. So these people are hypocrites, Mike. They're always they don't learn, man. And I'm fine with people disagreeing with you, but when it comes to this kind of bills and anything, they just want to insult you because they don't agree with you. But facts are on people's sides, so it's a mess. It's a mess.
Welcome, Whoopa Troopa.
Yes, welcome,
Hello.
Whoopa. Welcome. I just feel like maybe we should have a Pokemon match, and whoever wins the match, then that's what you go with. So if it's the Democrats versus Republicans and stuff, and they're having a Pokemon match, and Republicans for some reason have the better Pokemon and they win, then the Democrats should just agree to it, and that should be it. I wish things could be that simple, but
Yeah.
I just had.
Well, I'm going to say this.
Because Whoop was here.
It's not my place to dictate how somebody raises their kids. That's up to the parents.
Exactly.
Just like it's not these corporations' place to dictate how kids are raised
right.
either.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's up to the parents. That's the sole responsibility of the parents or grandparents or guardian.
Yep. And what these teachers should say if these kids come to these parents and are confused about stuff, but it's like even with the parents say, like, today my kid wanted to be Spider-Man. He's 5 years old. He wants to be Batman now. Today he wants to be Superman, whatever. But if a kid 5 years old or something for some reason asks a teacher, says something, then the teacher's responsibility should be, oh, you should talk to your parents about that.
Yeah, when I was a little Pokemon, I said I wanted to become a Pikachu when I grow up. No joke, that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
And as I always tell my parents, I'm kind of upset that they didn't let me transition to a Pikachu. That would have been a fun life.
Yes. Pika.
Well, I know this probably won't come to any surprise to anyone who's frequented the channel or seen me on different panels, but I kind of identify as a Klingon. Usually I like to say this to people.
He said, "Today is a good day to die."
Yeah.
Bring glory and honor to my house.
That's right.
Fight in glorious battle, and hopefully die with honor and end up in Stovall Corps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's let these kids just have fun. Why do we want to put more pressure on these kids? It's all about control. And
Mhm.
these people need to get over it. They really do. So,
Disney and a lot of these corporations needs to know their place.
they do.
Their place is running their business. Their place isn't raising the family at
No,
home. That's up to the parents.
that's right.
It'd be like if somebody had come up to my parents when I was growing up and told them how to raise me. No,
Exactly.
it's not up to that person to raise me, to teach me. That was up to my parents. And my parents did a damn good job.
If somebody in their other party, because we know where Deadline stands, Mike, just like a lot of these media outlets where they stand, because they decided a number of years ago, at least 4 or 5, it got worse, that they wanted to become more activists and actually writing more quality articles. Not that that was a bad article you read, but we know the way that's slanted and we know what side those people are on. Now, if it was somebody from their own party doing it and not from another party, how would they feel? Probably demonize the person, but maybe not.
Yeah, and like something that I've heard on social media that people, grasping for straws at this, saying, "Oh, what if it was the Democrats doing this to Chick-fil-A?" It's
Right.
just such a terrible argument
Yep.
because, and I think most people recognize that, but
Yep.
Chick-fil-A is not doing anything funky with your kids, but
No.
they're also like, this is all about it removes their tax privileges or all their their special district. Like Chick-fil-A doesn't have their own firefighters or police force. They don't get these special tax benefits. So it's like,
That's right.
there's no way that you would do that because Chick-fil-A doesn't have the privileges that Disney has.
Yep.
Any
No,
state.
the only thing that Chick-fil-A does is close on Sunday.
What's
They
going to
give you
happen? Yep. Yes,
they
it
give you their
does.
product 6 days a week, but they allow their employees, all employees, to have Sunday off because that's their beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They Disney and DeSantis will have to come to some kind of agreement, and I think in this situation, DeSantis has the cards and Disney does not. So they're going to have to come to some kind of agreement. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, I have a question for both of you and everybody who's watching right now. Will this cause Disney to backtrack on their current policies as far as, their storytelling, their business operation,
So, well, something
et cetera,
should.
et cetera?
If they're down 30%, their stock is now down 30% because of what's going on. People are not happy about this. It's not just DeSantis. This has become a big issue. And now that we've seen in this country, especially, that we've seen parents thrown under the bus because they don't like things going on in the schools, and so they're getting attacked by agencies and other nonsense. It's scary. They shouldn't be, and we'll just see what happens with this whole Disney thing. Maybe it'll change things, but the way I look at it, if we're ever going to change this whole censorship nonsense, these people who want control, we're going to have to get people like Elon Musk in there and other people like DeSantis, however people feel about these people, but we've got to bring our speech back, and people need to be able to speak our mind. We need to stop shunning people. We need to stop using people's children's as some political tool. There's a whole list of things. I'm not going to go through it, but there's a whole list of things that we could do so much better that would actually help our country right now. So,
Well, we need to get back to agree to disagree.
yep, exactly.
Everybody has a different point of view. And we need to understand as adults that your opinion's not going to align with mine, and we just need to move on and get on with our lives. Stop
And
acting
yeah,
like kids
Yep.
and
And
move
I
on.
don't know what's also going on with there's more violence now. I don't know if it's because uh people are feeling better about COVID or whatever or some, but especially now lately there's been a lot more violence at stadiums and certain ones, and there was a fight
Oh,
at San
did you
Diego with one or two people.
did you see what happened after
Freaking-
the Yankees Guardians game yesterday?
Yes, Guardians. Oh, and that's another thing we'll talk about later, Pacific, because we need to put out a message on Twitter that these names Guardians and Commanders are stupid sports names. They're dumb. But anyways,
And Pop Culture Mechanic brings up a great point here. I may not like what you say, but I will fight for your right to say it. That's how it should be. Yeah,
exactly.
that's how an adult society should work.
That's how it
Unfortunately,
should
right
work.
now we are seeing that
Yes.
our adult society is being run by a bunch of teenagers
Yes.
in adult bodies,
Right.
and they can't move past certain topics.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
like
something that Elon said about in that interview he
Mhm.
gave when he was talking about Twitter. He said, that, how you want free speech, how if you have free speech is if people you don't like have the right to say things that you don't like.
exactly.
That's how you have it. It's not if you can, you can say this or that. It's if other people can say this or that. And I think you can see that a lot of people on the other side, or the people shilling for this media, don't have a problem
Mhm.
with it. But if you
Yep.
if you wanted to dare say the sequel trilogy was trash, I mean, even some people will get throttled or banned just for saying stuff similar to that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Certain websites, certain yep. Yes. It's ridiculous.
I mean, if I wanted to be petty, and I'm saying this to be funny right now, but if I wanted to be petty, I wouldn't let Cash and Whoopa on the panel right now because Cash is a Dodgers fan, Whoopa's a Cardinals fan. No, no, I only want Cub fans on this panel.
The Cubs trashed the Pirates the other day. My goodness.
Oh wow, that was
Oh,
Wow.
that was interesting to see.
I
Wow.
was watching yesterday's game and I'm thinking, all right, 1-0 lead in the first, and then the Cubs kept adding on more runs, especially with the 2 errors in the second. I'm going, okay, guys. All I'm thinking about was the Martin Prince segment from The Simpsons where he's going, "Stop it! He's already dead." I'm going, "Stop it! They're already dead.
Well,
Save some runs for tomorrow."
I saw someone saying, maybe we should just send the Pirates and the Orioles down to AAA. Let's put them there. They might have some better luck down there.
Well, I'm wondering also with all these fan interactions and people getting in fistfights and stuff. People are certainly feel entitled to cause violence, throw things at people. Somebody threw something at Bellinger, at least over his head, some bottle. It's just like, my goodness. I don't know what is going on with these people. And I think it's also the alcohol consumption. I think if this does become a major problem throughout the season, they might want to end alcohol consumption earlier, not by the 7th inning, but maybe like the 5th or 4th.
And let me ask everybody this, and by everybody I mean all of us here on the panel and all of us in the chat. Do you think, being locked down for as long as people were, that's affected how they act in public?
Oh yeah,
I guess, but
absolutely.
they've been doing this on planes too. I mean, there's been fistfights at the baggage claim with people with masks on. So people are just angry.
I
You know.
think that is a lot of it with the lockdowns. I mean, first of all,
Mhm.
they feed you fear mongering for so
Yes.
much and
Yes, a
rage
lot of
bait.
fear mongering. Oh yes,
And
definitely.
I mean, I've certainly fallen the same traps where I'll see
Mhm.
something and I get really worked up, and it's like, oh, calm down, don't go too crazy. Just
Right.
because, yeah, when they put you away from everyone and all you can hear is, you don't have social interactions, you have internet interactions, which
Mhm.
can be supercharged at times. But
Yep.
it's also, yeah, I mean, you go to baseball games. Baseball games are not always. Well, I don't know how your guys' are, but there's some interesting events that always go on. But especially now, you haven't had a chance to see your. I don't know how it has been since the Astros came back to the Dodgers, but I know when everyone was locked down, Dodger fans would line up where the Houston Astros bus was going, and which I
Can't
think
blame
the
him.
I think the Astros deserve that, but it's just anything like that, some whatever happens to a team. I don't know if anything's happened to the Cubs recently, but you had Castellanos flex on the guy in front of home plate when we were still on limited capacity. That ticked a lot of people off,
I'm
and
sure
the Astros stuff. And now everyone's back, and before you would have been angry at that, you would have booed him, you would have done whatever, and then you would have moved on because you got it. But now, you didn't have the chance to tell people how you feel for 2 years, and you see him in the in the stands, and you wanna yell at him. You wanna say, hey. Not necessarily right, but I think that is a factor.
Well, you said you didn't know what's happened with the Cubs. I'll tell you, in the opening series for the season against the Brewers and Wilson Contreras getting hit, not only was Wilson Contreras pissed off about it because it's been happening quite often whenever the Cubs and Brewers match up, but the fans were getting upset too.
Yeah, that's right.
Our guy keeps getting hit.
They hit someone else, didn't they, too?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to worry about your guys only get hit. Turner, I'm just waiting for Turner to get hit again. It's going to happen at least a few times this year.
And Pacific would probably know this better than me, but I think I heard something that, like, in the last 3 seasons or whatever, or maybe less, that, like, the Brewers have hit the Cubs 27 times. Like, that's a little... Once you get to that, it's a little bit more than coincidence.
And the thing is, Keegan Thompson was on the mound for the Cubs, and he hit one of the Brewers' batters. Well, he ended up getting a suspension. And nobody from the Brewers got a suspension. So where's the justification in that? The Brewers are the ones who are intentionally hitting, and yes, I am saying it's intentional. You can tell when it's intentional and when it's unintentional. Well, the Brewers are doing this on purpose. But when the Brewers keep hitting guys like Wilson Contreras, who I wouldn't want to hit him, I wouldn't want to have him charging at me because he'd knock my lights out. And Keegan Thompson does it once and gets suspended. Commissioner Rob Manfred needs to look at himself in the mirror and say, there's something wrong, but he won't. Commissioner Rob Manfred is part of the same problem that we're seeing in pop culture and entertainment right now.
Yes, definitely. He's willing to pander. He's virtue signaling, whatever. It's pathetic. And he's not the only commissioner in sports either who does that.
All right, so shifting focus now. I think it's a good time to shift focus. I don't know about you guys.
It's fine.
Let's see. We talked about that. Let's go ahead and talk about manga kicking ass.
Oh. Kicking some more ass. All right.
Yep. This article comes from Bounty End Comics. It was actually originally posted by Nerdigans Inc. on April 18th, and it says manga continues to outperform Western comics as new volumes of Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece sell over 1 million copies to Japanese fans in 1 week. And let me go ahead and read this comment from the Padawannabe, and then I will start off with the article. Padawannabe says, many people don't know how to act in society. Everyone was cooped up, but all the idiots have money now, and us in public will see the consequences. Yep. All right. So this article says, in a sales feat that stands in stark contrast to the current state of their Western rivals, the newest volumes of Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece have officially sold over 1 million copies within 1 week of being released in their native country. Article continues to say in Japan, media sales tracking company Oricon released weekly sales charts for a number of industries, including music, video games, and manga. According to their most recent weekly sales chart for the week of April 4th to the 13th, the top four best-selling titles among Japanese readers were, and I apologize for mispronouncing this name. I am working on it. Eventually, I will improve. Gage Akudumi's Jujutsu Kaisen, Ilichiro Oda's One Piece, both of which sold over 1 million individual copies, Tatsuya Indo's Spy Family, and Taisen 5's The Original Sin of Takapi or Takopi. Again, I know I'm mispronouncing those names. I do apologize. I am working on it.
He'll get it. He will. It'll be there soon. They're tough names.
Taking the top title from last week's champion One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 19 has took the top spot on the Oricon chart thanks to both its regular and standard editions. In its debut week, before including pre-street dates, sales, Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 19's regular edition sold 1,093,519 copies, and the limited edition 66,711 copies, including pre-street date copies. The combined totals of both editions sold copies mount up to 1,232,116. With the success of not only the core anime series and the recent Jujutsu Kaisen Zero film, not to mention the fact that the previous volume sold 667,857 copies in just 2 days, it should come as little surprise that Volume 19 has sold like hotcakes. Outside of the popularity from the Jujutsu Kaisen anime offerings, it's no surprise why this volume sold so well. Not only does it contain the showdown between Itadori and Higuruma, and again, I do apologize for mispronouncing, but also part of the insane fight between Megumi and Reggie Star's squad that fans have come to refer as Megumi's Bizarre Adventure. And again, I will keep practicing at pronouncing these names. I've actually listened to how these names are pronounced, and eventually I'll have no problem. Itadori versus Higurama's fight is an especially powerful, as struggling with guilt with a mass murder Sukuna committed using his body during a previous fight. Itadori finds himself up against a former defense attorney who completely snapped when the court of public opinion pressured the courts to wrongfully convict his most recent client. Under the sway of Higuruma's judgment curse technique, whose power morphs the battlefield into a courtroom trial, both sides have only one chance to lay their claims, with options being silence, denial, or confession. What ensues is a battle of wits and arguments, with their lives and cursed energy technique hanging in the balance. As for the latter antagonist, his appearance remains memorable thanks to his ability to manifest anything that is on a receipt or document. In one moment, Reggie can be seen using a receipt to a fancy hot spring as a means to recover. He can even summon a house, yes, a literal house, if he has a receipt for it. Interesting. Last week, One Piece Volume 102 was at number one from pre-street date sales alone, outselling all individual manga volumes for the week with 211,922 copies. Though thrown from its seat atop the charts, One Piece Volume 102 sold a total of 1,050,333 copies in its debut week, landing it in second place spot and bringing its total sales to 1,262,255 total copies. Why is Japan going nuts over this latest volume of One Piece? Well, aside from the series being one of the most popular in Japanese history, its current Wano arc is pretty fire, and this volume contains a major turning point in the ongoing raid of Anagishima. Maybe I pronounced that right, or maybe I pronounced that wrong. I don't know. It also contains a number of epic showdowns, including those between Zoro and King Sanji and Queen, and the boss battle of Kid and Law against Big Mom. During these battles, Zoro learns the origins of his three blades and is tested by his newly acquired Enma. Sanji discovers his family modified Queen into a near literal deception and is pushed to choose between embracing or rejecting his heritage after his own Dharma modifications manifest mid flight. And in the middle of the volume, Law and Kid are party to an epic reveal amidst their fight with Big Mom. Between these fights and the collected chapters upcoming adaptation for the anime, it's easy to see why One Piece Volume 102 is selling the way it is. I mean, look at that art. I like that art alone. I haven't even read the manga or even attempted to watch the series. Coming in third was Spy Family Volume 9, which added its meager 2,975 pre-street date sales numbers to debut to a total of 609,256 copies sold, almost doubling the roughly 350,000 copies moved by the series' previous top of the chart placing Volume 8. Prior to the debut of its new animes, Spy Family manga was already relatively popular in Japan, and it's apparent in comparison to its previous volume that the hype for the animation is doing wonders for the series' ability to move books. Will this volume of Spy Family top Jujutsu Kaisen or One Piece? Even with an anime behind it, it's highly unlikely. However, thanks to the aforementioned anime adaptation, the series has a realistic chance of selling 1 million copies. In fourth place came relatively new manga Tokapi's Original Sin, with its second and final volume, which opened with 2,414 pre-street date sales before ultimately pulling in a total of 200,919 copies sold. Easily the least known series among the top four, Tokapi's Original Sin follows the story of the eponymous Tokapi, an innocent alien that comes to Earth to using his happy tools to spread happiness. Unfortunately, Tokapi sees the ugliest side of humanity when he comes across the bullied and abused Shizuka. While Tokapi's Original Sin is an all-around great series, it should be noted that the manga is not for the faint of heart. Though Tokapi's journey, the manga discusses a number of serious topics, including child abuse, bullying, depression, suicide, and murder, in such a way that readers may be forced to face some of their own childhood trauma. I know I did. That's what the author of the article is saying, not me. Goes on to say, however, it's these discussions, especially from such an innocent perspective of Tokapi's, which seem to have made the series as popular as it is. With how well both volumes of Tokapi's Original Sin are selling, it's possible that the series might change the landscape of stories introduced in weekly Show and Jump. As noted above, while these sales numbers are entirely impressive in and of themselves, they also reveal just how well the most mainstream Japanese comic book publisher is faring compared to its Western equivalents. And it really paints a depressing picture for the current state of the big two. According to the US NPD BookScan top 20 superhero graphic novels data for March via comicbookrevolution.com, popular Batman stories continue to lead the pack, with number one seller of the month being 1987 Batman Year One with 9,870 copies sold. Number two was Batman: The Long Halloween with 4,952 units sold, while Batman: The Court of Owls took fourth with 3,172 total sales, and a new edition of Batman Hush ranked fifth with 2,931 units. The only non-Batman entry in the top five was the third place complete collection of Just Lemire, Greg Smallwood, and Jordi Belaire's run on Moon Knight, undoubtedly due to the upcoming premiere of the character's Disney Plus series, which moved 4,222 units for Marvel. Not even a new title or volume in a series, but a collection. The number one selling graphic novel in the US for March 2022 is a graphic novel older than both myself and many of you reading this. That's baffling to think, especially as manga series like Detective Conan and Hajime no Ippo have been in serialization for as long as I've been alive. Much like The Dark Knight, and their newer volumes still consistently sell well in Japan. It also doesn't help that instead of learning from the successes of Japan, such as their easy entry points and events having actual consequences for the overarching plot, Marvel and DC creators would rather spend their days attacking the manga medium as well as disappointed fans. This is really sad and pathetic, DC. Hopefully, Discovery's overhaul can save you from the bowels of apocalypse with news stories and characters that are more than just cheap attempts at virtue signaling. Marvel, well, there's little to hope for in regard to their future under Disney. What do you all think? Cash, Whoopa, chat? Let me see. Whoopa will be right back. I mean, okay. I've never read a manga. I've only begun to get into anime. I mean, yeah, it's been the past year, but there's still a lot of anime to catch up on. But if people are getting better material, better stories from one source over another, that's what they're going to flock to. That's why DC and Marvel are failing, because they're not giving people the stories that they want. It's just like with movies and television. You don't give the customer the product that they want when it comes to storytelling, they're not going to watch. They're not going to buy your product. And let me go ahead and see what else is being said in the chat. Crit says, me and Cash watch One Piece almost every night. Pop Culture Mechanic says, I've been buying the DVDs. I just started the time skip. And Ever says, if the article contains spoilers for future One Piece, skip it. Because Cash and I are still okay. Well, unfortunately, I've already read it. And honestly, that's what I do here. I read the entire article, spoilers or not. Although I'm caught up, I'm catching Cash up.
Yeah, don't worry. I left the room for a little while, so I didn't have to.
All right.
Get
All right, I'm
spoiled.
safe. I'm safe. Yeah, and I might take you up on that offer, Crit.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy One Piece. So,
And Gap Stargate, hello. Thank you for stopping by. And Pop Culture and Mechanics says, vote with your wallet. Support what is better for you. Exactly. And that's what people are doing.
yes. It's the same with the Spawn comic. King Spawn made a lot of money because it's still Spawn. It still appeals to the fan base. It just makes people like it a lot. So it's going to make money.
Yep. Give people what they want and you'll make money. You don't give people what they want, well, we're
That's
already seeing what's happening.
Always.
So, shifting gears to another article, and it's from Deadline. It says, after CNN Plus's abrupt demise, attention turns to the future of its shows and personalities. That's right. Discovery Warner Media has decided no more CNN Plus. All right. So the article is by Ted Johnson, and it was posted on Friday the 22nd. And it says, updated with comment from Chris Wallace and Casey Hunt, CNN Plus is on its way out. But the new leadership at Warner Brothers Discovery has given every indication that there could still be a future for some of its programming. Much of the speculation has centered on the future of the highest profile hire for the streaming service, Chris Wallace, who stunned his Fox News colleagues in December to announce that he was leaving. His CNN Plus show, Who's Talking to Chris Wallace, has made news on a number of occasions with his probing sit downs with the likes of Bob Iger, Jen Psaki, and it's not too much of a leap to imagine him moving to CNN.
No.
Goes on to say there has been some anticipation that Wallace, with his shows extended and probing interviews, would be most likely to get such a berth. CNN has had a big hole to fill at 9 p.m. weeknights after Chris Cuomo's firing, but there could also be a larger overhaul of the early evening and primetime schedule under incoming CEO Chris Litch.
Yep.
Wallace declined to comment on what happens next, but told Deadline, my primary concern right now is taking care of my team. Meanwhile, Wallace's executive producer Javier Diego bristled at the sense of joy that some had over the demise of CNN Plus, led by former President Donald Trump, who issued a mocking statement. Adding to an already awful day, people on here celebrating the demise of a project hundreds worked hard to accomplish and praising their potential unemployment. Diego wrote, seemingly for political reasons, can people be human for once? Have some empathy? Well,
No,
of course they can't anymore. Whatever.
Well, and what a lot of people pointed out was these are the same people that told you, hey, you need to, stop
can
your
go
job
shove it.
for a
That's
year or
right.
two.
You're a horrible person. You're a bad. You're this. You're that. You need to listen to us. If you don't, we're going to demonize you. Blah blah blah. And then the same thing happens to them, where they and then these people are like, well, you need to feel sorry for them. You have
Yeah.
to understand. Like, shut up.
And yeah, 2 years ago, all these people were telling you, oh, you need to stay home. It's for the
Yep.
best, I know you'll lose all this stuff, but
Yep.
it's for the best. And
We
now
have
they
all
lose
the
their job.
information. We have these doctors. We have these people. Don't question any of us. We're the all powerful media. And now, of course, the media, as we talked recently, Mike, they're basically saying that, how dare anybody question us we're the ones who are support. We're the ones who are bring the media to you. We have the information. Well, if you did, then why is it usually wrong and full of lies and inconsistencies?
Yeah,
But,
and the thing is too, like I mean, yeah, like I
and we're
said,
canceled.
they were, yeah, they were saying, talking about how we needed to quit our only jobs or stay home
Mm-hmm.
from our only jobs, whether or not we could support it or not, just for the greater good. Most of the CNN Plus stuff, I'm pretty sure that's second jobs essentially, right? Because it's
Yeah.
all already CNN personalities, and then they
Yeah.
have another show. So it's not just so most of these people aren't losing their jobs; they're losing their side hustle,
Well,
and they want
yeah.
you to feel as bad for them losing their side hustle as you losing your job, your main job, because of all this stuff. It's stupid.
Very good, Pata. Yes. Yeah, Lauren Michaels is somebody I want to throw a trash can at. But yes, it's just, these people leave a network like Fox News. Megyn Kelly did the same thing, and they think the grass is going to be greener on the other side. They get more money. So, everything's going to be better on the other side. Oh, it's going to be they said something on that network they don't like. Time to be canceled. You're fired. Your network's not going well. Who are you guys bringing in? Oh, people who want to say horrible things about people who don't agree with them. Yeah, that's a great call. So no, I don't feel bad for Chris Wallace and CNN plus 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 plus. I just don't. I don't like CNN personally. I just don't. There's barely anything that I personally feel is worth watching on there at all. There's a little bit, but not much at all.
I can't tell you the last time I watched the mainstream media or any of the news outlets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's been that long.
But they leave and they're like, they have a good job where they are, and they leave and they go somewhere else. They get more money. Maybe the politics over there fits their personality better. Maybe they've always been like that. But then it all blows up in their face. Same thing happened with Megyn Kelly when she left Fox News. Same thing has now happened with Chris Wallace. Do I feel sorry for him? It's like, you made a bad decision. You shouldn't have done that. It's like, you didn't see this coming. You know how these networks are. And even if they didn't used to be, they've changed, and not for the better. So, yeah. That's why people are afraid. That's why these networks are afraid, like billionaires, of Elon Musk. They don't want to get people to listen to them. They don't want other people that are telling them a different opinion, or even other things that actually are facts, to listen to them, because how terrible. Yep. So it's just a mess. But you see how Deadline is spinning it. That's what Deadline, that's what Variety, that's what Entertainment Weekly. You just go on there and read a bunch of their articles, and they just can't stop spinning this stuff. Make you feel sorry for this person. How dare these people say, oh, this person needs help. Yeah, they do. But then you get demonized when you're like, well, you know what? Maybe they shouldn't do this stuff. Maybe these people shouldn't be hired. And the list goes on and on. So media is just literally, for the most part, a dumpster fire.
Look at Ezra Miller right now and all the trouble he's been causing.
Yes.
And they, some people just want to poo-poo the whole thing. No.
Yep.
He needs help.
Yes. I said this joke on another stream I was on, but they were saying, in Hawaii, you're more likely to be attacked by Ezra Miller than a shark.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow, I like that. Yeah. All right. Somebody record that. Somebody clip that. But yes, I'm sure. Yes. Just be better human beings. But the media is to blame in a lot of ways, because they get people all riled up for ratings and money. But CNN, they're doing a poor job. A lot of these networks are doing a poor job if all they're about is making money.
Mm-hmm.
So, unless they can talk about a certain politician that I don't really want to bring in, but I just, it's just embarrassing. So no, I don't feel bad for Chris Wallace, and I lost respect for Chris Wallace before. It was like, okay, Chris, you sound reasonable, just like your dad, but you decided to go over to CNN Plus and so on, and I just personally hope Fox News doesn't give him his job back. It's kind of like, you left, dude. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I know that's mean to say, but it's true.
Pop culture.
I like
Man,
that.
did he bite the shark though?
He might have.
That's terrible.
Maybe
Did
he called the
did he find a
shark.
great white?
He called the shark a Yahtzee, like he did that one pregnant lady.
And we have an interview with the shark that was attacked by Ezra Miller.
He bit me.
What were you doing? I was just minding my own business, swimming in the Pacific Ocean, and then all of a sudden this guy came up and attacked me.
Playing with my friends, and then he bit me. He bit me.
Charlie.
I'm a great white for crying out loud, and he attacked me.
Maybe that's probably why,
Dude, that's why the aliens don't come here. They're like, dude, I'm done with this place.
They look at the news, they're like, nope.
They're like,
mind.
nope, I'm done, man. What planet are we going to? Mars? Somewhere else where we can hide out? All right, no way. We're coming here to Earth. These people are nuts. I've made that joke before, but I really believe it. If the aliens are here, they're hiding out. They're like, nope, not gonna happen. These people are lunatics.
Yeah.
It's like the scene in National Lampoon's Vacation. The aliens are cruising by our solar system. They come by Earth. Roll up the windows, kids. This is an unsafe neighborhood.
That's right.
All right, so I'm not going to finish reading the rest of this article because it's pretty much straight to the point.
Yeah. Yep.
CNN, well, they dumb screwed up.
Yep. What else is new? Well, that's what they do.
It's par for the course.
It is.
So let's go ahead and shift gears one more time. And this is about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Boy, is that a train wreck or what?
That is something. Even some people were like, I don't know how I feel about either of them. It's like they had a toxic relationship, but hopefully something good will come out of this and they can both walk away with something. And I don't think they should probably ever talk to each other again. I'm just glad they don't have a kid. That would make it 1,000 times worse.
Oh, wait a minute. Cash?
Yeah, you want me to say it?
Yep.
Get your floaties. Yeah. Get your galoshes. Yeah.
All right, so this article comes from Bounding into Comics, and let me go ahead and post the link into the chat.
Oh, there he is.
Oh my God!
It's
he heard his name.
Man.
He is here. He heard his name. You speak his name once,
like
twice, 3 times, he appears. He's like Beetlejuice. Nerporial, and he appears.
Yeah, I hearing good things about the Northmen, so I'm sure.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was talking about it with someone yesterday because I wanted to figure out. So I don't have necessarily a problem with gore. I just don't like it when it's over the top, I'm not a fan of the boys style of gore where it's like, look, we evaporated someone, or, look, it's, there's so much blood, it's not like really even possible. Besides the fact that I think it's kind of. Yeah.
What about that violence? You know too much? Okay.
I mean, I like Pulp Fiction a lot. I don't like some of his other movies, but it's just I like realistic. If you're gonna do it, be realistic. I'd say, like Band of Brothers is one of my favorites for that. It's like you're faced with the real horrors of war,
Yes.
And most of the scenes where you have someone's legs blown off or someone's got a gaping chest wound, you're not focusing on the gore. It's kind of accenting the emotions of the situation.
Right.
And that actually happened. That actually does happen in war.
Yeah, exactly. When you
Yes.
have something like The Boys, which if you guys like, that's fine. But I just wasn't a fan of it. Things just go everywhere, and it's like, well, this is just kind of. Partly, it's like, I guess I kind of get grossed out a bit, but a lot of it is just like you look at that and like, well, that's not possible. It kind of takes you out of it. It's like, well, now you're just playing it up for the reaction, I guess. That's just my personal. But it sounds like the Northman is more Band of Brothers esque. So, in the fact that like anything you see isn't like, oh wow, this is gross over the top. It's hey, you're fighting with some Vikings. There's going to be some, they were brutal, and that I'm okay with that. It makes me want to watch it more for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested.
As soon as it comes to my area, I'm gonna go see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anytime a movie gets positive word of mouth like the Northman's getting, I think it's worth seeing.
Is it only in limited releases? Is it a limited release situation?
I don't know that it's a
Yes.
limited release. I just know that
Okay.
it's not in my area yet.
It seems like it. Like and I haven't studied this too much, but it seems like everyone's saying like, why isn't this in more theaters right now? Like there's I was talking with Wakasashi's Tea House. He said there's no scheduled release in Japan. And he really wants to see it. It's like I'm sure that it would make some money over here, but they're just like, no, it's not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It just seems very odd.
And
weird.
before I read this article, I do want to say good day to Captain Trek. How are you doing today?
So we've got a captain and an admiral around.
We do.
Yes, we do.
And a nerd
And-
portal too. Yeah.
Nerdporial says a happier version of Hamlet. And about the release, it's very limited.
Yeah, I thought so. I had a feeling.
And Nerdporial has a question for you, Cash. Cash, are you looking forward to next Saul episode?
Of course, dude. We'll talk about it soon, man. I can't wait. I'm loving where this final season of Better Call Saul is going already. The writing is great. The it's so intense. It's a roller coaster. I love it. One of the best written shows on TV today. I don't care what anybody says. It's incredible. And it's a prequel to Breaking Bad, so it's just great. I just love Saul Goodman, but I just love the cast. The show is just really good. So, but yeah, we'll talk more about that soon, Nerdporial.
I've watched the first episode of Better Call Saul, and I actually like it.
Good. Because if you don't, I'm gonna have to. No, I'm just kidding. I would hope you would like it, Mike. I really would.
Wait. Hold on there.
Hey, you were talking to me?
You
You're talking to me?
Nobody's gonna take out Pacific 414. Okay, got it.
Capiche?
No one.
Uh,
All right. So
it's too funny.
moving on to this article, Johnny Depp details grisly attack from Amber Heard that resulted in his finger being severed. Audio tapes show Aquaman star admitting to hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
This is by Spencer Macaulay. It was posted on April 21st. It says, in the sixth day of testimony given in Johnny Depp's defamation lawsuit against Amber Heard, the Aquaman actress was not only accused of abuse by her ex-husband, but also heard in an audio recording outright admitting to engaging in such actions. Gosh, this relationship is just a train wreck.
It is, and it's going to keep going for this whole trial's going to go because I know Depp is suing her, and I don't. It's just. Yeah.
Taking the stand for the second day in a row on April 20th, Depp opened the proceedings by recalling the deterioration of his relationship with Heard, explaining to the court that during the course of their relationship, he suddenly found that she began treating him as if he was just wrong about everything. if I made a statement about something that I had been familiar with, for example, in my work that I've been chopping away at for 30 years, I was to try to explain yourself and correct the problem. The misunderstanding began to heighten as Miss Heard was unable to be wrong. It just didn't happen. She couldn't be wrong. Well, guess what? There are a lot of people like that
Hmm.
who they're always right. No matter what you say, they're always right. You're always wrong. Even when
Yeah.
you present facts to them. No, no, you're
Yes.
still wrong.
Yep. All the time. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Continuing, Depp noted that these little digs they would commence with demeaning name calling, berated sort of to be made a fool of, and those would escalate into full scale arguments. And in the beginning, as one does, one sticks up for oneself in a debate or an argument over something to try to prove a point. But when it escalates, it's hard to explain. But the argument would start here and then it would roll around and become its circular thing of its own, he explained. So you get back to the beginning essentially of the argument. Now it's heightened even more, but it's still circular and there's no way in or out. Goes on to say it was sort of a rapid fire, endless parade of insults. And, looking at me like I was a fool, he said, of Heard's rhetoric during these arguments. And I just couldn't. I was having difficulty in my mind and in my heart dealing with that sort of barrage. I was not allowed to be right. I was not allowed to have a voice, he asserted. So I found the only way to find any sort of peace was to try and walk away. There were times when I would just go and lock myself in the bathroom, anywhere that she couldn't get into. That happened constantly over the years. Asked by one of the attorneys on his legal team, Jess Myers, to describe how their fights would escalate, Depp told the court, well, if they escalate, if I continue to try to present my version, my side of the story, when you're approached with such anger and hatred, it seemed like pure hatred to me. If I stayed to argue that, eventually I was sure it was going to escalate into violence, and oftentimes it did. Pushed for an elaboration on what he meant by violence, Depp stated in her frustration and in her rage and in her anger would strike out. It could begin with a slap, it could begin with a shove, it could begin with throwing a TV remote at my head. It could begin with throwing a glass of wine in my face, the actor said. All in all, it was constant. He further noted that Heard would also use his personal experiences and history, such as his abusive upbringing, as weapons against him, especially when it came to my kids, Depp added. There was no need for it. Too many lines were crossed. You couldn't see the lines anymore. As the trial proceeded, the Pirates of the Caribbean star eventually turned to the now infamous severing of his finger at the alleged hands of Heard, revealing that the incident erupted after his ex wife discovered that he had requested a post nuptial agreement regarding their marriage. She was very upset, said Depp. She stated to me that what she had said to the lawyer, the woman Johnny can't, he must not. He doesn't know about this. He's never seen, he doesn't know about this is what this is. No way he would agree to do this. What Miss Heard then expressed to me was that the lawyer, the woman, had laughed at her and said, oh, he knows. Yes, he knows everything. Which sends her into a tailspin. So by the time she arrived in Australia to visit him on the set of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, that was sunk pretty deep into her psyche. So it goes on to say, so much so that what really surprised me was that she kept saying, I'm not even in your will. I'm not even in your will. I thought I was an odd thing. I thought that was an odd thing to say, especially since I don't think anybody had time to change wills or anything of that nature. It felt wrong, Depp surmised, and she would not let go of the fact that I was in on this post nuptial agreement and that I was trying to trick her into essentially getting nothing if something were to happen. When asked how he responded to her, Depp replied, I said, I just told her those things were not my intentions. It escalated and turned into madness, chaos, violence. He then declared she was irate. She was irate and she was possessed. And then when I tried to remove myself, as I normally would from a situation as she's hammering me with brutal words, you know, it wasn't nice being called an ass kisser to lawyers or, you know what, who didn't fight for her or stand up for her. I think that I ended up locking myself in about at least 9 bedrooms and bathrooms in my temporary Australia residence that day as she was banging on the doors and screaming obscenities and wanting to have a physical altercation, he stated. When asked how his finger became injured, Depp answered, at one point, I strayed sitting on the bathroom floor, door locked. She banged away, screaming. Then suddenly she stopped and I could hear her walk away. I could hear her receding into the distance, if you will. The actor then maintained that following this outburst, he proceeded to go to a bar in the house bottom floor and poured himself 2 of 3 stiff shots of vodka. The first taste of alcohol I had in a long time before Heard found him there and started screaming, Oh, you're drinking again, a monster. So she walked up to me and reached the bottle of vodka and then just kind of stood back and hurled it at me. Though Depp said that this initial projectile missed his person and shattered on the wall behind him, a second larger vodka bottle, which he attempted to pour drinks from, was also thrown at him by Heard, this time resulting in the actor noticing that the tip of my finger had been severed. And I was looking directly at my bone sticking out and the meaty portion of the inside of your finger, and blood was just pouring out, he recalled. At that point, I think that I went into, I don't know what a nervous breakdown feels like, but that's probably the closest that I've ever been. Nothing made sense. And amidst the panic, and there you can see it. So, yeah, it is a little graphic. Amidst the panic, Depp said that he started to write with my blood and my own blood on the walls, little reminders of what our past had essentially represented lies that she had told me, lies that I had caught her in. Later in the trial, Depp's legal team would play for the court a number of audio recordings taken during an argument between the couple in 2015, immediately after Heard claimed she had no memory of allegedly kicking the bathroom door and hitting me in the skull as I was bent down, arguing over an instance where Depp appears to have told her to go tell a friend that you punched me in the effing face. The actress quickly attempts to counter with an admission of her own, stating, I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry. Excuse me. That I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap. But I was hitting you. I was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. Get a drink of water here. Excuse me. Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched. Depp can be heard standing up for himself, to which Heard again mockingly dismisses. I know you've been in a lot of fights. You've been around a long time. I know. Depp then replies, no, when you have an effing closed fist, to which Heard counters, you didn't get punched, you got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not effing deck you. I effing was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. All right, so I'm going to stop reading this because you know what? Honestly, this is a troubled relationship. I know that's
Oh yes.
painfully obvious. And
Oh yes.
wow. Just absolute wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there comes a point where I don't know what to say about this whole thing. Looking at both sides, to be perfectly honest. What is there to say? What do you guys think? What do you guys in the chat think? It's just wow. That's all I can say right now. That's all I can muster is wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. You know what?
It's a giant mess, man.
It is. I think because of that, I think we just need something to laugh at right now. So give me a few moments, add a little levity.
Oh boy, here we go. Get your.
And hopefully this does give folks a laugh. Just find the file real quick. Here we go.
That is some serious space shit right there, let me tell you.
Set course Flishba.
Oh, again, sorry.
Space shit right there, let me tell you.
I'm just starting over.
Set course Flishba.
Oh, again, sorry.
Oh my God! You know, I gotta be honest with you. I gotta be.
Get in there.
I don't have to sit here and.
Blooper. I'm a professional. No.
You're sick, dude. I mean it.
Space shit right there, let me tell you.
All right. I don't know why the video's not playing, but anyways, it's the gag reel from the Orville.
Yeah, it was choppy, but I saw some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, that's why I stopped it. Anyways, a little levity, need something to laugh at after reading that. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, I have clips I could have played. You know what? As a matter of fact, I do have the clip I'm going to play just because.
Excuse me, I'd just like to ask a question. What does God need with a starship?
This
Oh boy.
It never gets old. Yeah,
No.
it really
And
does.
Captain Trek is right. Absolutely right. It is toxic.
Oh, it is. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah.
Crit says justice for Johnny.
Yep.
Nerdporial says, I hear Whoopa is on side Amber Heard. Is that true, Whoopa?
No, it's not true.
Great.
It is fake news.
It's great, man.
Alternative
Must have loved
facts.
her in Aquaman. It's great.
The Padawannabe says, that wouldn't be too bad. I bet his bathroom is huge. Let's see. I feel for us as individuals that we try to overlook minor characteristics in people and think it will turn out all right for us just to have those same things and people that stab you in the back.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. And Whoopa says, at Nerdporial, not exactly. And the Padawannabe says, I have things like this in my past with my parents and some of my girlfriends. It is never fun. I just hope Mr. Depp can come out of this without really doubting himself.
Well, hopefully this will help get his career back. That would be good for him. Very good. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
And Whoopa, go ahead and send that clip. If I have to pause it at any point, I will. Yeah, I mean, it was even revealed this week during the disposition that Johnny Depp was fired from Disney, so he won't be part of the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie if there ever is one. I honestly think they should have left it at 3.
It's all right. Yeah, I mean, they could have left it at 3, but the standalone after that, it's like they had to do another one because that one was just it's a mess. Blackbeard's daughter and Blackbeard, and the only thing that really kept that going was Barbossa and Jack Sparrow. Really, that I could see. I didn't even care about the mermaids. Gosh, I remember that. Some certain things about that movie too much.
Oh, I only liked the movie to an extent because of Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the other one they did, I liked a lot better. I thought it was very good, and they could just stop. They don't need to do another Pirates movie.
No.
Just
It's
stop.
like
It's all right.
It's like the Fast and the Furious franchise. Put it to bed, please.
I mean, if they do, it's okay, but they're not going to. And the next one's going to have a certain Larson.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Captain Wonderful. Oh yes, Captain Wonderful.
She's Captain Wonderful, the best captain ever. And you can't attack her. You can't criticize her because remember, she was an Academy Award winning actress. Well, or actor, whatever. I don't care. But she did for what was it, The Room or whatever? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a while back.
Yeah. Well, you know who they're attempting to cancel now?
Oh, Chris Pratt.
Oh,
They're
they've been
going after. They're going after him again. I heard. Yeah. Is there somebody
Yeah.
else missing? J.K. Rowling going after her again.
On my neck, something cold and wet and weird just dropped on the back of my neck. Get it off me quick, get it off! Ah!
What was...
Whoopa.
Whoopa.
There we go.
Whoopa,
There's some levity.
And then
Right.
I'm still disappointed in Nissan that they gave and Nintendo that they both gave her contracts before, and she did some ads for Nintendo and she did some ads for, and she's got obviously a contract with Nissan, but these people can hire whoever they want. If I'm my first choice, if I'm running a company, would definitely not be Brie Larson.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see,
a. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Whooper. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say it is a very interesting choice. Like at least you can say a lot of people like John Cena when they. I thought it was dumb when they added him in, but
John Cena.
that was even
That's
before
not-
the whole
Right.
China stuff. I
Oh
was just like,
yes,
you
so
know, I mean,
stupid. Yeah.
I don't hate him, but he's not very good.
Yeah, it's like, dude. It's
and
just,
adding a long lost.
well,
I
it's
just thought
the
it was.
pandering. It's just like the whole thing with Sam Elliott. It's like, dude, you guys have been around a long time. People like Sam Elliott. You just don't don't give in, but they did. So it's like you lose respect for these people.
Yeah, and it's just like with John Cena, I think he has some decent acting chops. He's got his place, I guess.
He wasn't bad in episode. He wasn't bad. It's just I just don't like Peacemaker, but I might try the show. I didn't like him in Suicide Squad 2. So
I didn't watch Suicide Squad 2, and I heard that Peacemaker
right.
gets better, but I watched the first episode and I decided I don't want to watch the second one. But no, it was just, even with the Fast and the Furious, this is less about, state of Hollywood and more just like what are they doing when they're like, hey, we've got Vin Diesel, very seems pretty Hispanic, right? Like he does not look like a white man. And then you just got John Cena, long lost brother, who's very white. Like, well, hold on a second. What exactly was going on here? I'm very confused how this works. And
yeah,
you just didn't mention
it
him
was
until
like
the ninth
I think it was
movie.
like his half brother or something. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was just it was so, I know that you have to suspend your disbelief for these Fast and Furious movies, but that
for
again
certain things
was
you do.
like, but that was like, okay, now you're just going crazy. Like, calm down.
Yeah, I mean, but they did. The funny thing is, they have some good background, so they explain things. It's like, okay, I think I could see this, but where was he before? Yeah, it's kind of nuts, but I still enjoyed that movie a lot. But it's just always funny to me. A lot of those films end with some kind of family get together, and then the family gets bigger, or somebody comes back to life, or whatever. So yeah, they can be fun movies.
That's because it's all about family.
It's all about family. That's right.
I mean,
one quarter mile at a time.
One of the movies I enjoyed, and it is because I went and saw it in the theaters with a friend, was Tokyo Drift. I enjoyed it.
I heard
I like Tokyo Drift too.
I haven't watched yet.
Was that the third one?
Yes.
Yeah, I like the first three. After that, not as much.
Yeah, I've been I don't know. As long as Vin Diesel's in it, I'm still on board. But if they end it, I'm not going to shed a tear. It's okay. It's had they're going to do a 10th film, and who knows how many more they're going to do after that. So
yeah, and they did spin-off. And I don't I'm not. If people like it, go for it. Right? I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you, oh, you shouldn't like this. Like whatever you want. I'm just saying, it's not for me,
Yeah, right.
It was cool at the beginning. I understand why it took off, because I really do like, the first movie's great, second movie's great, third movie, it's a little controversial, some people like it, some people hate it, but I liked it.
Right.
So
yeah.
All right. So guess who the next actor that's on the cancel culture list?
Oh, right, Bill Murray.
Oh, yeah.
Crit had mentioned this to me a few days ago. And I was like, boy.
This is on the Huffington Post. It says Bill Murray being investigated for inappropriate behavior on film set. What? Did he tell a joke that hurt somebody's fifis?
I don't know. Maybe.
He's a comedian. He's a classic comedian. Guess what? They tell jokes that maybe your fifis will get offended by these days, but guess what? It's just a joke. It's not real.
Fifis. Yes.
All right. So this article says Searchlight Pictures has suspended production of Being Mortal, a movie written and directed by Aziz Ansari, after a complaint was made. Oh no. Filming has been shut down on Searchlight Pictures' film Being Mortal after a complaint was made against actor Bill Murray. Production on the film which was written and being directed by Aziz Ansari, was suspended after a complaint was made against the actor for inappropriate behavior, according to Deadline and the New York Times. Let me go ahead and post this article in the chat for anyone who cares to read it. It goes on to say details about the nature of the complaint or who it involved are unknown, as is Murray's involvement in the project going forward. Ansari was not part of the complaint, nor was co-star Seth Rogen, Deadline reported. How much you want to bet it's Seth Rogen filing the complaint? Because Bill Murray's funnier than he is, and he's offended by that.
Dude, just imagine like working with these people.
I wouldn't want to. Searchlight confirmed to Huffington Post that the production was suspended but declined to comment, and did not immediately reply to a request for comment. The Times obtained a copy of a letter Searchlight sent to the movie's cast and crew Wednesday. It says, late last week, we were made aware of the complaint and we immediately looked into it. After reviewing the circumstances, it has been decided that production cannot continue at this point. It goes on to say a source told the Times the incident occurred last Friday and resulted in a shutdown that day. The production spent 3 days the following week conducting an investigation and determined that work on the movie would be shut down for the time being. Murray, who got his start on Saturday Night Live in 1977 and then went on to star in beloved films like Caddyshack and Ghostbusters, is a comedy icon. He is beloved for his understated humor, which has been at the forefront of many of director Wes Anderson films. He is also widely admired for his down-to-earth interactions with the public, like reading poetry to construction workers or turning up at random birthday parties. Yet his public persona hasn't been completely spotless. Goes on to say, in 2021, actor Lucy Liu told the Los Angeles Times podcast Asian enough that Murray verbally attacked her on the set of 2000's Charlie's Angels and used inexcusable and unacceptable language.
Oh, come on.
I'm calling BS.
Yeah, dude, but you know about how bad the Huffington Post is. Ugh.
Yeah.
Forest fire. Yes, I should tag them later and tell them they're junk. See if they get mad. But yes, they're a mess, man. They're so much of a mess.
Yep.
So when I hear that, like Lucy Liu, oh please. Yes, I'm sure Bill Murray was like, hey, Lucy, come here. Daddy's got something for you. Come on. That sounds creepy. But, yeah, no. Yeah, the Huffington Compost. I agree with Crit.
Yeah, he's right.
It is, man. It so is.
I mean, really, I've said this many times before, that all these people who have hurt fifis wouldn't be able to stand in front of the likes of, say, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, George Carlin.
They'd all be canceled at this point, man. Yeah. Probably even George Carlin, yeah. Maybe not, but
because, Bill Murray's in that same crop of comedians. He came up during that same time.
Yeah, like maybe he did, maybe he did. I mean, John Barrowman from Torchwood and also was in popped up in Doctor Who, of course, because Torchwood's a spin-off of Doctor Who, but they said he did inappropriate things too. He hold down his pants, and I don't know. That was an article a while back on Entertainment Weekly, and you read this stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, that doesn't sound good, but I wasn't there. But I don't.
Well, and with that too, I'm not a big follower of anything Doctor Who, but I remember when that whole thing was kind of coming out, and there were interviews from like years ago, of people, there is one guy and a bunch of girls, and everyone was laughing about it. And some of the girls seemed to like it, but then now, a couple years later, it's like, well, that's problematic. Like, well, it doesn't sound like anyone cared at the time. Like, I think it sounds pretty weird. It would probably bother me, but he didn't do it to me.
It's just like Ray Fisher. Like, there was obviously stuff going on with Joss Whedon, and finding out more about Joss Whedon because of certain YouTube channels recently was like, oh. But it's just, these people are also these social justice warriors, or these people, they cause problems too. But you know what? Why should we be surprised? The studios hire these people too.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard anything about Lucy Liu said that Bill Murray was inappropriate with her on set. Dude, and then of course you got that Asian guy who, from I can't think of his name, he went off about Gran Torino. You had that. Then you had the Asian woman from Harry Potter, and she was asked a question, and she said, "Yeah, I wasn't treated well because I'm Asian." Like, it just keeps going in a vicious circle, and it's like, why would you ever want to work with these people? And I just don't always believe this stuff. And yeah, they're still going after people like Chris Pratt. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can be part of the mob, and then when you say something the mob doesn't like, do they turn on you? They want you canceled. You're done for. Now, the Huffington Post it's going to be like, oh, me too, me too, me too. Okay, but we don't know all the details, and I would love to see the list of women that have come out who said that Bill Murray didn't do this. People like Annie Potts, who worked with Bill Murray on a few Ghostbusters films.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, definitely. I don't. I like to hear from them what they think about this. Or are they just going to throw him under the bus too? It's just like, look at what happened with Dustin Hoffman. Great actor. Mm-hmm. But, after what happened on the set of Tootsie, which was like 30 years ago, I don't know. Why didn't these people come out sooner? And I get it. They have trauma. They have this. But they're also looking for money and fame. And they look for opportunities because they're opportunists. And it's a whole mess. And then there's situations like stuff that went on in Naughty Dog, where people were getting, some people were getting harassed, sexually harassed. And that went away after like 2 days. Who knows what happened there? And so you hear all these stories, and it's like, I understand you got to take it seriously. But if it's a he said, she said situation, it's going to get ugly because we just automatically believe the woman, okay, but the man has been sexually harassed by women too. Obviously not as much, but it has happened. I know that hurts people's feelings, but it does happen.
That's true.
Not as much as women. And then, of course, these companies hire these people too, and then they wonder why they have problems. Then obviously these people, these executives, like the Activision thing, where there were people who came out and said some horrible things, even on Twitter, on like in a recording, like on video, it's like, oh, this is bad. But these were also companies who were like, oh, we're for you. We're ready to virtue signal. We're doing this. And they just don't. They're the ones, then they start getting in trouble. It's the same with Disney. It's the same with Coke. It's just different situations. So just be better. Or just don't get yourself involved in these things. You don't have to. But these corporations feel we're doing the right thing. We're for the people. Sure. So yeah, it's just a mess. But that Dustin Hoffman thing still bothers me because I don't know what he did a certain number of years on the set of Tootsie, but they canceled him. You don't see him in movies anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's too bad. It really is. But
I don't
so
even
they'll
know if he
probably try
shows
to
up at
cancel Bill
awards
Murray
shows
now.
anymore.
Yeah, they'll probably say Bill Murray needs to be canceled. He did something inappropriate. What did he do? There's also people that just need to behave themselves too, but still. You got the Vic Mignogna thing. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on, and it never stops. And the Me Too movement, while it actually did some good things, and I will admit that it helped with the gymnast situation. That was horrible. That was just awful.
Mm-hmm.
But then people started using it as in, I could throw these men under the bus, and I agree with other people who say this, and it may sound mean and whatever, but they also do this to take their jobs, to take the man's job. Not always, but there's cases that work that way. It's terrible.
How could there not be? I mean, you see it all the
Exactly.
time anymore.
Yep, but there's been sexual harassment cases with Ubisoft. It's all this hearsay stuff. So, yeah. What's up, Baron?
Baron, hope you're feeling better, brother.
Yeah, man. I hope so too.
Been praying for you, brother.
Yeah, so we just keep going in this vicious circle, and of course people don't like to ask questions now because how dare you ask the almighty questions to people. And it's like we want answers about this stuff. I watched that documentary of Michael Jackson, and me and Crit have gone back and forth about this. I don't know, but what those people were describing sounds horrible. But it is 30 years later, but it just sounds awful. So I just, but we have to keep asking questions for a healthy society. If we want our society to continue to get better, we have to ask questions. I don't care what people think. Gotta ask questions. So I don't really understand where all this stuff is coming from. You've got these situations where these companies, you had Riot Games, there was sexual harassment claims. You had Activision Blizzard recently, there was sexual claims, sexual harassment claims.
I don't want to, say anything, but
it's all the Pokemon fault. I know, dude. It's the Pokemon.
No. What does Riot Games do again? What did they make?
They made League of Legends.
Okay.
Yes.
But I know that you have, Activision Blizzard was very much on the woke train, hired a bunch of people who, were all about that.
Right.
And then suddenly you get a bunch of sexual harassment claims. Interesting how that works,
Yes,
Maybe
exactly.
these people aren't who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I also still find it hilarious. Yeah. And I know this is unintentional and probably, poor taste in humor, but I still find it hilarious. They've been getting all these claims of sexual harassment, and their most recent response was to announce that they were going to hire more women.
Right. I know.
And it's like, well, hold on a second.
I know.
That doesn't sound like it's on the up and up.
No.
What are you going to do with these
women? And the question is also, these women are hired, or anybody for that matter. Do they believe in the vision? Do these companies even have a vision anymore? Or are they just interested in more checkbox entertainment? It's just,
you nailed it right there. Man. You nailed it right there.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing with all these AAA games. I unlike Hollywood, I have a lot of faith in games, mostly just because I always say, first of all, even someone as bad as EA, we've basically seen Disney make despite losing all this stuff, taking massive losses, they don't seem to change course at all. EA had that Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco, blew up, and they changed it. I'm not saying that Battlefront 2 is a good game, but it certainly got rid of the Yeah, they got rid of a lot of the microtransactions because there was enough backlash.
Because of the backlash, yeah. It took the backlash for them to actually do something about that, you know?
Yeah, but at least
And
in
that's what-
games you can see like the backlash doing something, unlike it seems like in media. But on top of that, why I really like games is just, you know, me, you, and Mike probably couldn't make a hit film. It would probably not work out well. But if we put our mind to it, we could make a video game. Might not be a big deal, but you know, it's hard work. But it's
a hit
either
film.
way, it's
I don't know,
hard.
man. With our ideas, I think we could put
could-
together something pretty cool. I don't
I
know
think
what
we
our
could
budget
make
would
a-
be, but I think we could make a pretty cool film.
I think we
think we
could.
have-
It wouldn't have to cost us all that much. I mean,
Exactly.
look at all the fan productions that you see here on YouTube that fans have taken
Mhm.
time
Yep.
and effort to produce themselves.
Mhm.
It's
I think that we
100
could
times better than what we're getting from mainstream Hollywood.
Yep.
I
Because
think
of
you
the
can do a
passion and
lot.
love for the source material. Yep.
Yeah, you can do a lot. I just think it takes a lot. You know,
Oh, it does.
we're gonna need a camera crew. You know, I think
Yes.
we could make great ideas, but you know, you need a camera crew, you need actors, you need all this stuff.
Yes.
I look at this Among Us, just to bring it up. That was pretty much the biggest game of 2020, or
Mhm.
2020, more or less. That game has developed by 11 people. Like, you know, something like that, where it's just 11 people got together and made the biggest game of 2020. It's just, you know, no big deal, which is
Mhm.
really cool. You know, and that's why I think, like, at least it's easier for us as people and anyone else who is interested to fight back in gaming. You know, you're going to have a lot of choices. You don't have to just consume the AAA garbage. You can get a lot of indie games, and there's a lot that are available.
Yeah, but yeah, and I just think there needs to be a push, even on social media. Like, people just need to create their own stuff, and these companies don't like here and that. I know that, but that's what needs to be pushed, especially now more than ever. Create your own films, create your own games, start creating this. People go, oh, it's hard and this. It's like, you sit around, you want to cancel all these people you don't like, but if you spent more time, and I've said this before, building something, these people will probably feel rewarded, but they just want everything handed to them. Well, that's not going to help matters.
Well, it's
Or
like
they
even
want
here on
people
YouTube.
canceled. Yep.
Even here on YouTube, when people watch your videos and say your video sucks because they don't like the way you did it, it's like, well, then challenge yourself and do your own video. And they don't
Exactly.
want to do it.
Nope, they don't. They don't even want to come on and debate. Some of them, they just hide in their channels, and they try to take people out. I mean, even if people don't like people like Steven Crowder and this and that, there's people who go after him first, and then he's like, what? He's not supposed to defend himself? It's the same with some of these other channels. Look at EBN. People went after them for an episode of Book of Boba, called them all kinds of names, wanted them canceled. Probably even some people even sent them death threats. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. That's what people do. It's all that intimidation. It's stupid. These people need to get out there and see the sun or whatever. I don't know, but just or read some more stuff or something. But they just get so mad, and it's like, how dare you attack my entertainment? Well, your entertainment's not that good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, Reese's. I just.
So that's a big thing with Pokemon, to bring it always back to Pokemon, right?
Mhm.
But it's popular now to hate on the older generation of Pokemon,
Of
like
course.
the original stuff, and you can't talk about like, hey, I don't think this newer generation thing is good. People be like, oh, you're just you're just a sad boomer, whatever, which is always
Yeah,
fun to hear someone call
you're a
me
boomer or something nonsense, and people are like, "Oh, well, what? You don't want to pay $70 for a Battlefield game? It's those boomers, man. It's the boomers."
Right.
I'm like, wow,
As
dude,
a-
you're so intelligent there. Maybe
And
there
as
just isn't
a-
$70 worth of content.
And as a
Like usual.
25-year-old, it's like, wow, you're you're gonna call me a
Right.
boomer? Like I'm probably your generation, maybe younger, but we get a ton of people. And look, I don't mind if you personally don't. If you're like, I don't like the older generations because they're a
Yeah.
bit broken. I'm like, that's
Right.
fair, because they are. There's a lot of glitches
Sure.
and stuff. I still think it's, I was
Mhm.
playing on my channel. I still get a lot of fun out of it. But if you don't like it, that's fine. Same with
Yeah, it's just the
the-
same with stuff like Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, whatever people want to believe, the hardcore Pokemon fans have been playing these games forever. Like, one of my friends, this is one of the easiest Pokemon. You do 1 or 2 moves and then you can beat these trainers. That's kind of stupid. It's
Yeah.
lazy. And that's Game Freak's fault. But now with Arceus, they're trying to fix these problems. I would still say, they still have some ways to go, but they're getting better. I
Yeah.
think definitely Arceus is overall a better game than Sword or Shield.
Yeah, and that's stuff like if people like Sword and Shield, I don't mind. Like
Yeah.
you can like whatever you want, go for it.
Exactly.
And if you don't like the stuff I like, that's also fine. But it never seems to do that, and I try to stay away.
No.
I always say I try to stay away from Pokemon Twitter, but they got a lot of cool art on there. So sometimes you're
course.
in it for the art, and you accidentally stumble into someone having a terrible take. But it's not like, oh, I like this and I don't like this. It's okay if you disagree, but this is what I think. It's always like I saw someone like, I can't believe anyone would play these old games for fun. Like, dude, what do you mean? Like, that's ridiculous to think about. There are channels, like, whether you don't like it is fine, but there's a channel I watch that's, I think, up to 300,000 subscribers now. All they do pretty much is play Generation 1 Pokemon. And it's like, you're telling me that you can't understand how anyone enjoys it? Apparently a lot of
people do. A lot of people want to see people play retro games and stuff. Like, I'm excited. Like, that Shredder's Revenge is coming out, Mike. And and I think that'll be a 4-player online or co-op or whatever. It should be awesome.
Which, I mean, I know I Wednesday's edition, but let's go ahead and delve into that real quick. I'll just go ahead and get the link to the article that you shared in Discord, and
I'll try to share more articles I find. There's Niche Gamer. Niche Gamer also got themselves in trouble because they were stealing information and they had to apologize. And it's like, well, just do better. You make a mistake, I'm not going to throw you under the bus, but do better. But if you're going to keep doing it, that's the problem. And so there's these people that want to take people down. I mean, even Disney has people on other sites just to take other channels down they don't like. It's really easy not to like Disney for a lot of reasons. It really is, especially now. But I just don't feel that they can't do things well again. It's just lately.
Well, how about all the crap that Clownfish TV,
Yes, especially
you've got Nerdrotic, you've got Doomcock, Wes Moody
however
webcast.
You feel about those people. Yep.
Wes Moody webcast lost
I'll
his
be
channel.
right back though, dude. I'll be right back. Okay.
But Wes Moody lost his channel because of a community guideline strike. It doesn't say why he got that strike, but he lost his channel, and that's a bunch of BS. He should be able to state his opinion. If you don't agree with it, well, then that's your own damn problem.
Yeah, and you have, so many people. I know Memeology is a little bit of a different beast, but he's had a ton of problems with his channel from people striking it and not really saying why. I remember, thankfully it seems like Josiah Rises is kind of coming back, but he had got all that, he got that brigade from, I forget who it was that sent a bunch of people after him. And that kind of messed with him. I messed with him a lot. I think he took a break for almost a year from all that. And, it's not for anything they broke any rules, because a lot of the YouTube rules, I think we can all agree are dumb, but they didn't even break those. It's just from brigading and all that stuff that they get in trouble.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, gone are the days where YouTube was actually for the creator. That was one thing they prided themselves around when YouTube first started, was being for the creator. Broadcast yourself. It's no longer like that. We've all seen it.
Yeah, you get a bunch of people that they pushed. I It seems like it's slowed down lately. I guess I've pressed the X on it enough times, but you get your little suggested videos, and right under that, it's hey, here's CDC, hey, here's the news. It's like I don't want to see this stuff. I don't watch anything that has to do with this. They're just pushing it to you, mainstream stuff or whatever the government wants you to see, and it's like, well, that's not what YouTube's about. I just want to watch, my little, I want to watch Mike over here talk about some stuff. I want to watch people play some video games. I didn't come here for the news. If I wanted to watch the news, I'd turn on the news,
Right. Yeah, no. If Elon Musk is able to take on Twitter and take it out, whatever, do what it needs to be done, then it's gonna scare all these companies, and it may change them for the better. Because there's just too much censorship with YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And you tell these people this, they're like, oh, it's so great. It's so great. It's great until you say something they don't like. Then it's not so great anymore.
Yep.
Then it's a mess. Yep.
It's like I've even said here on the channel, especially with the baseball season in full gear, there's probably going to be a point where I'm doing a recap, whether it's live or recorded, where you not only see the frustration on my face after watching the game, you're going to hear it. I'm not going to pull any punches.
Yep.
I mean, granted, we're not to that point yet, but there may be a point. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm not doing as many live recaps or even recorded recaps this year as compared to previous years is because by the end of it all last year, with the way the season was going, I was drained.
Right.
It's like, I don't really want to do this because it's really affecting my attitude. I mean, I love doing the box score. I love talking baseball and so many other things, but it was just affecting me because of the poor play. And I do want to take a moment to say hello to Jeremy Swiggs. Haven't seen you in a long while, brother. It's good to see you. Yeah, I know.
Hey, who says I'm hiding?
That's right. That's a good point. Yeah. If you go down, you can see the video of this that you can watch gameplay. Yep. It shows about 2 levels. Yep.
Job breaking news.
Can you all hear it?
Yep.
Yep.
Should be fine to play, right? Usually stuff from IGN, it should be fine.
I've done it before.
Yeah. IGN and some of these other stuff seem to be fine.
How to shoot it. Dynamite strike.
This just brings back so much nostalgia. And I saw some dumb comment the other day, like, why is it in the styles of the 90s? It's like, did you really just type that? Like, seriously?
Yeah, they did. It's because they don't understand. They didn't grow up with it like we did.
I know. But it's so ignorant, man. This game still looks awful. But you're right, they didn't grow up. But it's still an ignorant comment, man.
Yep.
No, I think there's some people too that just think all old stuff is bad,
I know.
Like,
and they were like, dude, did you see those graphics? I'm like, on the console? And it's like, oh, you mean the graphics that you should get a new PC for? Because that'll always have the best graphics? Or my favorite one is, those graphics are great. I'm like, yeah, well, what's the gameplay fun? But those graphics, man. Gameplay.
Yeah, and I think it's just like, there are some games that are a lot, that don't age well. Like, I remember loving Hitman Blood Money. That was a great game. And then I remember getting it for free on Xbox and trying to play it, and I'm like, oh gosh, this is not good,
Yeah.
But that happens sometimes. But there's a lot of games that you go back and play, and it's like, oh, these are still really fun. Like Pokemon Red, I'm still playing, but there's plenty of games. I was playing this one game that I'd never played before from 2000. They just did a remaster, touched up the graphics a little bit, basically is all they did, and it was still like, oh, this is a pretty neat game. I've never heard of it. You know, a lot of games you can still play. There's a reason Nintendo makes a lot of money from selling their classic category subscriptions. It's not because those games are bad.
Yeah.
You know,
I just wish Nintendo would do some more with some of this stuff. You know, they want to limit people. They attack people with copyrights. There's even videos out there that they don't want you saying the words Nintendo Switch and other stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me with this?
Nintendo makes a lot of good games, but they do some terrible
anti-consumer practices.
Like, they're one of the worst. They're one of the worst. I'd put them at second worst in all of gaming for that stuff. It's just the fact that all the people around them that get more crap, they get more crap because Nintendo at least makes quality stuff. And you got stuff like, Take-Two is the worst, in my opinion. Like, they don't make a lot of good stuff.
Take-Two had to lecture people at E3. I'm just like, are you guys kidding me?
You had that. You had the whole thing with the
most embarrassing things I've seen in gaming in a long time.
Well, I remember the stuff with Borderlands 3. First of all, the whole thing with we've made this robot who's non-binary, which is hilarious to make a robot non-binary when they're literally
right. It's a robot
in binary code. But the whole thing with that is just what was it? They had that one guy who they sent thugs to his house to intimidate him because he had leaks that he got legally. He got legal leaks, and they tried to send people to his house. That's ridiculous. I can't believe they didn't get more press because that's evil right there.
Yes, it is. This game looks really good.
Yeah,
and they got the 90s.
Like it's a lot of fun.
They got the voice actors too from the 80s and 90s. It's crazy.
Cowboy Bebop.
And this is gonna, Cowboy Bebop. This is coming out in summer. So.
Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowabunga collection comes out around the same time.
This better be a great port, though, for Steam, man. I expect nothing less. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
The nostalgia level is off the charts, for sure.
And you can definitely tell that it took a lot of inspiration from the Konami games.
Yes.
Looks like another victory for the forces of good.
And here's another thing. You listen to Cam Clark as Leonardo and Barry Gordon as Bebop and Townsend Coleman as Michelangelo, and even that bit of Townsend Coleman. I mean, not Townsend Coleman, but Cam Clark as Rocksteady. They still sound like themselves.
Yes.
After all these years, they still sound like themselves.
Mm-hmm. I bet they got paid a good chunk of money, too. I'd hope so.
Oh, man, I just hitched the party wagon.
And I don't know if that Cowabunga collection is going to come out this year or not. That would be a total overload for sure. Our brains would just explode with all the turtle games.
I would like for it to come out this year. I mean,
it seems like
I'd like to be able to, I'd like to be able to stream this. I'd like to be able to stream the Cowabunga collection.
Me too, man. Mm-hmm. Plan was to get a group together. Well, I know people are going to buy this, so play the living whatever out of these games.
Well, it's like when we were first talking about this game and the Cowabunga collection, and Chaos says, well, who's going to be the four turtles? And remember how I said with yourself, Patriot, and Chaos, I said, we've got some of the turtles right here.
Definitely. So cool. This game looks great. It really does.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Just hopefully the ports are going to be good and the game's going to run well, and you're just never sure anymore. But it looks fine. But did you see the Cowabunga collection, Mike? $150 for the collector's edition. Ridiculous.
I'm not paying $150 for a collector's edition. I'll buy the standard edition. Thank you very much.
It's not. You get pins. You get a cloth poster, which is nice, and you get an art book. You don't get a soundtrack. You don't get a statue, but you do get a nice cutout. But still, it's like for $150. No. Oh, and you get trading cards too. Don't forget.
Oh, whoop! Trading cards.
Trading cards. Because all Konami seems to do anymore, besides their Plinko chips, their Plinko machines, is the bringing out old games, which is okay. But I don't know if Konami's ever going to bring out new stuff again. I'm sure.
I don't know if any of these companies are going to actually bring out new products. No. It's one remaster after another.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, this game right here isn't a remaster. It's a brand new game that's been inspired by games that came before.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah, of course, Jeremy's. Of course, Jeremy. Yeah, definitely, man. Of course, I used to play Simpsons a long time. You can get MAME.
Yep.
You can play these games. You just gotta have a good enough computer to play this stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember going to the bowling alley in the area that I lived and playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game and also the Simpsons arcade game.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I was talking to some other people about that. We could use some more really good Marvel games, but the last one that the one that was probably one of the best was probably Spider-Man 2018. A lot of people like Spider-Man a lot. I think that was the last really good Marvel game. I'd love for us to get something like X-Men Legends 2 and so on, but I doubt we'll ever get something like that again.
Well, you never know. I know it's a slim chance, but I think games like this will really determine on what we get as far as nostalgia.
Yep. Oh. That's it.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to that game. I'm looking forward to the Cowabunga collection, not the $150 version, but
there's just not enough to justify it. I don't think. Some people will buy it. It probably won't sell out as fast as they want, but even people paid like $250 for that Final Fantasy remake with the statue, and it's just like, jeez, that sold out pretty dang fast on Amazon. That collector's edition, but $250.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have other things I need to spend my money on, like electricity, keeping a roof over my head.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, some stuff is just so ridiculously priced. And, I guess some people have more money to burn. Some people, they value things differently. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yep.
So,
They do.
but I can't imagine that does very well. The game will. I don't think the original that box set you're talking about is going to do well.
I'm also waiting for like a really good anime game based on some of these animated shows. Like I don't think there's ever been like a Trigun game. Maybe there was at some point, but I doubt it.
And it seems like they don't have a lot of those games, and it seems like most of the games don't make it stateside.
Yeah, I agree. There's a One Piece game coming out that could be pretty cool, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Fairy Tail turned out pretty good, but even that like was somewhat censored on the PlayStation version, and it's a mess.
Yeah, that brings up another thing about Japanese exclusive releases. There have been more of those than I can count here on the stream, especially during the heyday of NES, Super NES, Genesis, and even PlayStation. There are some games you would find out, oh, that game's only come out in Japan. Well, fuck me for living in the United States.
Yeah, that's a lot of the. I mean, there's the kind of, I guess, the big three, if you say, of the game markets. You got the U.S. game market, the European game market, and it's not just Japanese, but it's not, basically Japan and Korea, that game market. They're, they're all pretty unique, but, Japan and U.S. are the big ones. So there's a lot of games that they'll make them in the U.S. and won't ship them over there, but there's also a lot of games that they'll make over there and not ship over here. It's not like, I think a lot of people, because Europe pretty much, they've got their whole new own taste, but for the most part, if they make it in Europe, you will be able to get it anywhere. But, in Japan, they take stuff real seriously. And
they do.
Which is fine. It's good. It's just, they have the ability to kind of make stuff for themselves. I mean, before, we had the console wars, and over in Japan, pretty much no one had consoles. It was all until kind of the Switch. It was just, hey, who has a PS Vita or PSP, or who has the DS or the Game Boy or whatever. It was all about the handhelds over there.
Well, yesterday I was watching, Anime 101 with Brandon and Loki, and they started talking about the TurboGrafx 16. I don't know if you remember the TurboGrafx 16, Cash, but
yeah, my friend.
I didn't know anybody who had one, but I remember going into Toys R Us and seeing the display unit, the demo unit, and actually playing some of the games.
Yep, you can get there's some cool emulators, man. If you want to play some TurboGrafx, I'll hook you up. if you get the itch to play some TurboGrafx, Bonk's Adventures, Splatterhouse, those are the two I remember the most.
I mean, that's the thing. It goes back to what you were saying earlier, why people go back and play the retro games, because the retro games actually mean something.
Yes.
They mean having fun.
Yep. Well, there's supposed to be an arcade that from Capcom that's going to be another arcade set that is not just on this one actually would be exclusively for PC, and I was like, because the other ones are just on console, and they never came to the PC. But this one is supposed to be exclusively for PC. It's like Arcade Cabinet 2 or Arcade Stadium 2. I was like, oh, what could be in there? Yeah.
Especially with it coming on PC.
Simpsons going to be in there. Is going to be a thing, because that was obviously a Capcom game. So is Turtles going to be in there? I don't know.
I mean,
we'll see. Yeah.
You could almost look at the obvious and say every iteration of Street Fighter is going to be in there.
Yep.
I mean, heck, we're still on Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of Pacific 414 Pop Talk. I want to thank you for coming on, Cash. Whoopa, thank you for coming on.
Glad to be here.
And
man.
I also want to thank the Smoking Patriot for coming on earlier in the broadcast. And of course, I want to thank the Padawannabe for stopping by. Thank you to Pop Culture Mechanic for stopping by. Jeremy Swiggs, thank you very much. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger. And of course, Whoopa, thank you. Baron, good to see you. Hope you're feeling better, brother.
Yeah.
And let's scroll up here. Crit, thanks for coming by. Don't be a stranger. Come by more often. Maybe even hop on the panel. It's always an open panel on Pop Talk. Captain Trek, thank you for stopping by. Nerdporial, thank you for stopping by. Always appreciate it.
Yeah.
You can't do a Pop Talk without an appearance from the Admiral. Gab Stargate, thank you for stopping by. Scrolling up. The lovely Sherry, thank you for stopping by. It's always lovely to see you. Christian Fandom Geek, thank you very much. DJ Ronnie G, thank you very much. Godzillionaire, again, don't be a stranger. Don't any of you be a stranger. Come on by, even if it's just to drop a like. Thank you very much. And of course, the aforementioned Smoking Patriot, thank you, brother. And anyone else? I think I've got everybody. And of course, everybody who stops by after this stream, thank you all very much. Have yourselves a great rest of your Sunday. I will be back later on with a recap of this afternoon's Cubs and Pirates game. And hopefully the Cubs can split this series. But we'll see. So I will see you then. Also, tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, there will be a special edition of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk as the greatest duel of the galaxy commences next weekend at the ICC convention in Nashville. And I will have two participants of this duel on the channel tomorrow. One of them being producer extraordinaire, Mexican Iron Man, and Master Paul of the Star Wars guys.
Now, I thought I was... Yeah, go ahead.
And joining me for that panel, because I know somebody who's already here is actually going to be the manager of Paul,
the
Star Wars guy. That's right. Cash, you are going to essentially be Paul's mouthpiece, his manager.
Okay. I was about to say that's funny. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I just didn't know if Paul wanted me to still do it or whatever. So, yes, I'm going to bring the... What time is that going to be?
10 o'clock Eastern. 10 o'clock Eastern.
Great.
And joining me in the broadcast position will be Baron Ormontag.
Excellent.
So it's going to be a fun night. We will see which one of these two competitors has it all figured out prior to their big match in Nashville. I can't wait.
What are the Vegas betting odds on this? Do we know?
I think I have a feeling like I'm going for Master Paul, but I think, no, I'm just kidding. But I'm definitely going for Master Paul. I think it's going to be a good fight. It better not be cheesy. They better bring the fire.
No touching of the hair or face.
That's right. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Paul Mechanic. And, you know, if we're going to go into the pre-match, you know, the pre-show, I don't know. Odds might favor the veteran Mexican Iron Man. We'll find out.
We will.
So thank you all once again. Have yourselves a good rest of your Sunday, and I will see you all later. Take care.